fun stuff, do a tutorial, do all these things, get the people interested in the story, and then keep going. Like do the more fun stuff or do the more crazy stuff, and that kind of follows that. Yeah. All right, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 182. We're talking about the female objectification in media, or specifically about Persona 5. Now, if you guys don't know Persona 5, this is an entire series by Atlus, one of the larger JRPG makers from Japan. And as you can see, it's only Dollface and myself here, because we actually know the series, or at least know a little bit about Persona 5, and we can talk about it. And it's been one of my favorite series, believe it or not, since the PlayStation came about. Actually, no. Yeah, it was the PlayStation. Yeah, that's when it started, on Persona 1, back in the 90s. And I'm a fan of all the Persona games, not just Persona, but there's the PSP games, I believe. Wait, were they also on the end of the DS? I can't recall. I never played those.
Yeah, there's some that are on the DS. Yeah,
the Persona Q games, I think. Those were weird, from what I've seen. You just slam them all together. Yeah. But I played the first one, the second one, which was the one that the States got first, which is Eternal Punishment. I think there was a third, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, I never got a chance to check out.
Yeah.
But I think everything changed once Persona 3 came out. That's when they introduced the whole social link system, the calendar system, and all the other...
Yeah, that's kind of the ones I'm familiar with, like from Persona 3 onwards, basically. And then a couple of the Shin Megami Tensei ones I've played, but mainly
like the Persona 3 Fez is where I after playing 3, Fez came out. You're like, oh, I got to play Fez, and then you could change your gender. And 4 was my favorite, and even the Golden was great. Like once you play 4, like, you want to play the next one, which is kind of silly because you wish they just updated on the PlayStation Network, but that was before.
I never played the original one. I just played Golden. That's what I had access to, so I didn't really have anything to compare it to.
Persona 4 was my favorite. I have yet to play 5. I'll eventually get around to it. I was hoping that they're going to release 5 on PC, and I don't have to...
Yeah, well, they've released 4 on PC, so, I mean, eventually, maybe.
Yeah, I know. I love this series. It's one of those games you could play and play and play, and you're like, oh, it's 3 a.m. I should probably put this down because it takes a while to get the save points, and you just want to keep following your characters around, get their social links going, get your stats up, and those dungeons though take a while, so sometimes you have to spend the extra hour to go through.
Whoa, someone in the chat says Golden sucks.
Really?
Wow, that's a hot take.
That is my favorite out of all of them. I don't know.
That's a hot take. I don't know if I agree with that one.
Yeah, that's hard to say. But yeah, Persona has always been one of those crazy, weird, like if Japan wants to tell a story and they have the time and resources, they're going to tell this crazy story about high school kids either jumping into a TV or going to the midnight hour and trying to save people from themselves by going into their minds. And Persona 5 is just an extension of that. Like every story is very, very similar in that regard. But there's always a neat little twist, a neat little flavor. And I think the third one, what was the third one exactly? I'm trying to remember the unique element. Like I know what happens at the end, but I mean like you're always an exchange student, a transfer student.
Yes.
And it's because he was dead or he had some sort of condition, like he's just aloof and no one knows why, I think. I can't recall. But
I can't remember that much.
Yeah, with 4 it was just like you're just a playboy. You are a nice guy.
Yeah.
You're everyone like, but that was the whole mentality I thought of all the Persona games. You are the playboy, and you're like the prince of the school. Everyone loves you. You're so cool, but because of Yu's his personality, he's so aloof. And
especially, well, it's when you come through it in New Game Plus and you have all the personality traits maxed out, and you're just this amazing person.
He's so like, he's just like, what? Am I cool? Like that's his whole thing. Do I look cool?
It's like, yes, I am charming. Thanks.
Yeah,
that's me.
And with Persona 5, I was really excited for it, and I kind of liked what they did. I haven't played it yet, but I've read and watched so much content to know that it was a great idea, and they cut out a lot of content and focused it on so much of how Arsene was going to look, the design, the concept for him, and what the powers were, like all those stylized menus and all the ink when you jump to and from cover.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really, really good.
It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking game. And we just talked about this before, but when you're talking about games that aren't polished or aren't bug fixed before they're released, this game took years, and I think it was 2 years after they announced it was going to come out, because they wanted to get the bugs figured out and polish it and polish it and polish it. And it is solid. I've never seen a glitch. I've never seen a problem of any kind. Maybe they're out there. I'm sure there's some, but it is a solid product. So when you buy that game, you're getting a quality product from Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, in like the 200 hours or something I put into it, I haven't seen like a single like bug or a crash or anything.
Yeah.
In Persona 5. So, and Royal as well. That's another like several.
When they do,
well, I probably put 100 hours in that because I didn't play it as much, because I sort of played it enough to get the extra content and do that.
Oh, when you get those updates to the deluxe editions, like it comes out like a year later or so, I don't know. The fact that they do that is kind of like a nod to the fans. At the same time, it's kind of also like, oh, you got to spend another $60 to buy the game again, which is kind of sucks. But
at that point, I wasn't even mad. I was just like, well, I don't know, it's worth it. I'm gonna get a lot of hours.
That's the thing.
Out of it.
It is worth it. It is. They add so much new content. It's basically a giant DLC pack with a new character, a new character storyline or ending, or all these extra social links, and it's just really neat to see that amount of effort for a project that people spent like 5-6 years on, and they're like, you know what, we can do better. We've done such a good game. It was one of those things that was like the most popular game of the year.
Message coming in.
On
for
like, was it 2018 or 19? I can't remember.
2015 Persona 5.
Really? Oh, I'm so out of the loop. Holy crap.
Yeah. It's weird to me that like it feels like it only came out recently, but yeah, because it was the same year as Witcher 3.
Wow. Holy crap.
That was a good year, 2015.
Yeah, no, it was like JRPGs, Witcher 3. Yeah, what a great year. Holy crap. Anyway, we can keep gushing about the history of Persona, but they've got it to a science. This is their third iteration of the series. And we're going to talk about Salari. I don't know anything about this dude. He has a 67,000 sub YouTube channel. This particular video came out in December of last year with 131,000 views. So obviously he knows his audience. People like talking about Persona. And he himself is definitely a Persona 5 fan. But he has a case of what we call the wokeness, which is very strange because Japan doesn't really give a crap about the woke. They sort of do whatever they want. And this guy seems to be lamenting that, which is very strange. So, I don't know. We're going to go through some of his arguments. I'm going to skip, honestly, the first 10, maybe 12 minutes of his video, because all he does is summary of the first palace, which is the Kamashita Palace, which is pretty much the concept of you have this teacher who abuses his students, and he's a gym teacher. So he's was violently abusive to the boys because he's aggressive with them when he plays volleyball.
Yeah, like kind of a perv with the girls. Basically. Yeah. Especially Shiho.
Right. To the point where Shiho tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And that affects her best friend. What's her best friend again? What's her name? An.
Shiho. Well, An.
An's her best friend. And then the whole concept, Persona is you go into an alternate world. And in Persona 5, it's to go into the world of the hearts of these people who have twisted views on reality. So Kamashita's abusing his students. You go into his palace, you break into his vault, and you steal his heart. And in the waking world, in the real world, he's had some cathartic moment, and he realizes, oh, I got to confess to what I've done poorly. And that's a fascinating look. And this is kind of strange because they took that concept and kept playing with it because all these amazing things started happening in the real world, and it became world renowned. So when you go on vacation to, was it Hawaii? There's like news of the Phantom Thieves throughout the world. They're like, wow, we're celebrities, but no one knows who we are. So it's kind of funny how they try to downplay everything to keep everything within the realm of the magical. So I always like that. Anyway, let me just read some super chats and we'll get started. Joe Crazy, thank you, sir. All I know about Persona is that they fire magic guns at themselves to summon stands. I mean, Personas. That's specifically Persona 3.
Yes.
So, and those are called invokers. They're not real guns. So, but that was part of the theme of Persona 3, which was suicide, or the guy was pushing himself so hard that he would not think about his own safety. And he had to learn and grow with all the people around him to say that he has friends and family.
Message coming
he's
in.
Not worthless.
Patching it through.
And life has meaning. And it's a
beautiful. But isn't it just a thing? Isn't it just a thing in like all the Persona games where if you have something that looks like a real weapon, that in the sort of Persona like world, I guess, like it will act as if it's a real weapon because it's all about, because it's like the world of cognition, sort of.
I think so. The difference is, I remember in Persona 1 and 2, those were real guns. Okay. So, but the thing is, in Persona 2, like the cover is like this, it's Maya, and she's got these giant hearts on her breasts as her, I don't know, high school uniform, and her guns, she dual wields pink pistols, like automatics or semi-autos, and you're like, that's kind of edgy. Another girl, she's a goth chick in a goth green dress with spider designs, and she's a boxer. One of the guys is this long-haired dude with like small circular shades, and he fires marbles at people. That's his weapon. Like it's just like this crazy goth-looking game, but those were real guns. So yeah, but they changed it up obviously in Persona 3 and up. Here's Roxas Uzi. Hey, Roxas, I love Persona 5. No kidding. I thought you would. Also, if you romance more than one lady, they beat you up on Valentine's Day. Also, this video is bad for your information. Yes, that is the famous Valentine's Day Playboy scene. I don't know what to call that, but yeah, not the best route to take in the Persona games. But yeah, this video is going to be a little different than our rest because it's from a fan's perspective, so I like that idea. Jake, again, boobs bad, women no have boobs. There's so little titillation in Persona's games, especially Persona 5, so I don't know where he's going with this, but I do like the fact that they address these issues in the game, which is what you do in stories. And usually you have the woke crowd who say, oh, you can't do that, that's objectifying this or that. It's like, no, that's the point. And you have a teacher who abuses his students violently and sexually, so that's mature. That's what you want. You want a story addressing those issues, not hiding from them. So I like that. Jake again, woman must wear burqa at all times. Not according to the Japanese. They don't give a shit, which is great. Respect woman, cover them up, praise Allah. Okay, well, obviously you're having fun. Correct.
Very based.
Yeah, I know. All right. Let me just fast forward here. We'll get started.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
They have.
All right. So this is on the real on is being tied up by the first boss's henchman, and this is how she breaks out of her shell and discovers her persona powers. Everyone's different in that regard. So.
And is captured, we also see Kamashita's cognition of her, except she's wearing a skimpy swimsuit, cat ears, and exists entirely to dote upon him. This enrages Anne so much that she finally achieves the power to fight back. The group eventually confronts Kamashita as the final boss, who has transformed into a grotesque cognition of his real self.
That's another thing about the bosses and the personas that you can collect like Pokemon in the game. They're over the top crazy. And I remember the character designer, or rather the enemy designer who made all these things. Like Persona 5 was goth. So imagine goth taken to an extreme level and just having the craziest looking personas and enemies, spaceships, just high fashion concepts, floating, not even heads, but floating objects as a head.
Just a huge fucking dick.
Yeah. Yeah, like just crazy looking, awesome enemies. And in this case, it's also like this is all symbolic. This is all a mindscape. I like to call the dream world in these games a mindscape of whomever you're fighting or whatever enemy you're fighting. And look at this guy. Like you can just tell what's going on here. So what is he doing? He's got a bullwhip or whatever, a crop for riding for horses that you smack. He's got some wine. He's got 2 golden pieces of cutlery. And it looks like legs coming out of his championship cup there. He's an ex-Olympic athlete, I think. So he's gotten all this notoriety, and he's like this respected dude at school. So none of the people say anything because he's like, oh, well, he's the best volleyball player from the Japan team. Therefore, he knows what he's doing. So they don't question his methods with his
Message
students.
coming in. Patching it through.
And as you can see, he's kind of warped, and you got to go in there, defeat the boss, and steal his heart. That's how all the plot points of Persona go. All right, Tyler Preston. What about the Shin Megami Tensei franchise? I haven't played those. Those are very unique. Those are very Japanese. I've seen the Nocturne game. I've seen the what is that one called? Where you go back in time and it's like this Japanese policeman sort of thing. So the whole concept is carried into Persona. Just Persona is more streamlined for the average consumer, which I think for people like me who's not as, I wouldn't mind playing them, but I would prefer something a little bit more given to the Western audience. Not that there's anything wrong with translations. They just don't translate as well as if they were for mass consumption, let's just say. Jake the Surgeon again. Dear Arceus, the female form, make it go away. Was that a quote? What's that from? Oh dear. Anyway, let's keep going.
Shadow Kamashita. The arena is adorned with the female statues that we've seen throughout the palace. Along with wearing a crown and a cape, he spawned horns from his head, wielding a glass of wine in one hand and a riding crop in another, a reference to him physically abusing his students. He's also spawned 2 more arms wielding a gold knife and a fork. 2 standout features of this design though is the trophy that's in front of him, in which we see the legs of female students sticking out and writhing around. When he loses a certain amount of his health, he'll take an opportunity to pick up one of these girls with a fork and eat them to heal. The other standout design feature of Shadow Kamashita is his gigantic white tongue. An interesting aspect of this fight is that Kamashita has an attack named Lick, and this will always be targeted at Anne, the only female member of your party. He telegraphs the attack beforehand so players can react to this in time, but if they fail to do so, Lick is one of the most damaging attacks in his arsenal. As the fight is nearing the end, Shadow Kamashita summons cognitions of 2 students. Mishima, who I mentioned previously was a victim of Kamashita's physical abuse, and then Shiho, the student Kamashita drove to attempt suicide, is brought in to assist him with a special attack. The Persona games have some incredible boss designs, and Kamashita is no exception. It illustrates this disgusting, lecherous being who abuses his power with no remorse. The world and everything in it exists simply to please him, and young women aren't just objects to...
I'm waiting for a but.
Yeah, it's kind of...
I'm waiting for a but.
Because all that he's describing is good. This is what you do. If you want to address concepts of, I don't know, sexual objectification of women, here's a villain. This is what he represents, and you defeat him. You should feel good about that. You're defeating a bad guy. woke crowd. Like, this is good stuff. This is what you do in stories. You don't just not talk about it. That's
but
stupid.
I'm just waiting for, but it's not good enough.
Oh, really?
Because some dumb, like, so I'll keep going anyway.
Yeah,
Really.
let's keep
They
going.
provide him sustenance, regardless of their own well-being. After the fight ends, a scene plays out where the party confronts a defeated Kamashita, who believes that given the pressure the school has put upon him to ensure the volleyball team excels, that because he's had to put up with that, he should be given a reward, i.e. women. The team are faced with the decision to kill Kamashita, but leave it up to Anne to choose since she was his victim. She lets him know how damaging his actions have been, and decides to let him live in order to confess and atone for his sins. They steal that which he treasures the most, or as the game puts it, they steal his heart, then leave as the palace crumbles around them. This is a genuinely powerful and impactful moment. It may be under supernatural circumstances, but it still does a great job of conveying that women don't exist to please the powerful, that their gender shouldn't mean that they don't lack power themselves, and that the patriarchal institution of the school, and to an extent the country, has not only given power to Kamashita, but convinced him that he deserves more power.
Okay, that's...
So, yeah, all this stuff about the patriarchy, it's just that the reason that he's powerful is because, like, the sports teams that he coaches, like, do well, isn't it? Like, it's basically because, like, he brings success and prestige to the school.
Essentially, yeah.
You know, so it's not just that, like, he's a guy. So, like, it's not just, well, he's a man.
Yeah, exactly. If this was a female expert in volleyball and she was on the Japan national team and then she, finished going to the Olympics or whatever, and then she came to school and taught, she would be abusing, I guess, sexually abusing all the boys and smacking the girls around or whatever with her spikes. So it would be the same story. But you could make...
how many news stories, how many news articles have you seen about teacher fired after it turns out that they sent like female teacher fired after they were sending sexting one of their students, like one of their underage students.
Right.
Like, I've seen so many articles like that. And
Exactly.
it's like, if anything, I've seen more of that than of male teachers.
Right, I know.
I haven't seen that much, but personally, but that's just anecdotal. But I don't need to prove which is more frequent, just that it's both are frequent enough that I think just painting it as, you see, it's because of the patriarchal institutions of the school and society. I don't know. I don't even think this is particularly a commentary, even trying to be a commentary on patriarchal institutions.
He's just bringing that up because he's describing the school as such without backing that up. I don't like that in general, but this is the mentality of the woke crowd. They have to say these terms, these buzzwords, and try and make a narrative out of a game which has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Which
I think he's just looking for it. He just has that the goggles on that are like, I'm gonna look for these themes, as it were.
we could make other references to he's stressed out and he's so busy and he believes he needs a reward and that's why he's abusing all the kids to work harder or to sexually assault the girls or whatever. It's just yeah, but he's still a bad guy. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter where he comes from. He's a bad guy, and it's your duty to stop him. And in that crazy metaphysical way, you get to steal the thing he cares about so much, and he changes. As a result, he changes his mind, which is the magic of Persona games. So that's the focus, not some weird influence of males telling other males to abuse people. That's weird. That's just silly.
Wait, I beg you, just forgive me!
Shut up. I bet everyone told you the same. But you took everything from them!
After some time passes, Kamashita publicly confesses his crimes during a school assembly. He's genuinely remorseful for what he's done and announces that to repent, he's going to take his own life. Anne calls him out on this, demanding that he faces the consequences for his crimes, and that despite Shiho's attempted suicide, she wants to live regardless of what happened to her. He also admits that he tried to force Anne into relations with him, which quells the rumors that she and Kamashita were in a mutual relationship. The whole storyline is how the game opens. In its very early stages, it unequivocally tells us, the audience, that what Kamashita has done is disgusting and unforgivable, and we should be as disgusted and outraged as the characters who have experienced it. It's extremely effective at this too. I personally remember how eager I was to defeat this monster when the time came. The game set a precedent that what this predator has done, how he sees the world, abuses people and objectifies women is completely unacceptable, and it did it in a remarkable way. But
okay, so this is a good thing. This is what you do. Again, we said this before. You want to make your villains to be the thing that you want to eliminate in your story, or as be defeated at least. And that's fine. It doesn't matter what the term is. It doesn't matter if it's part of a left-leaning or right-leaning ideology. A bad guy's a bad guy. So play with those ideas. This is a great imagery of all that stuff that he was referring to that he doesn't like. And it works very well. So,
but I just think, so the crux of what I think is going to be the problem with this video is how vague of a definition of objectifying is going to be. Like, it's very, like, we have a character here in Kamashita who pretty much actually doesn't think of his students as, like, people at all. Like, he actually thinks of them as objects, not in this vague sort of, oh, you aren't you don't consider someone's entire life story and every aspect of their personality before getting horny. It's like, it's like, no, you have to know someone's fucking life story before you're allowed to be horny, otherwise you're objectifying. Go to horny jail, you objectification Tron person. It's just like where's he going with this? Where's he gonna go? Oh, and here's how it objectifies the character.
Well, the obvious thing is critical. The obvious thing is to look at the most attractive characters in the story, I guess.
It's like, look, the characters are portrayed as attractive.
I know. That's wrong.
No.
How dare you put attractive girls in your story about sexual objectification? It's like, wait, that's the whole point. That's what we're doing.
Right. Okay, let's keep going.
Then, most of the game happens,
Message
and much of
coming
that
in.
messaging goes
Patching it
straight
through.
out of the window.
Hi.
Female objectification.
Okay, this is what doesn't make sense. Let's say this is a major plot point, which it is, where you attack the villain and you defeat him for being a piece of crap, right? And he hurts women or hurts young ladies and young men, and you change his heart and you defeat him. You are done with that. That element, that theme, that concept is finished. You don't have to address it unless it's part of a plot somewhere else. That's it. You're good. It's...
How does it objectify women? How does the game after that one objectify women? I don't... Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we got to see examples of that. So what I was trying to say before was that the whole point of Chapter 1 or the first hour or 10 minutes of your game is to get the puck in the net. Is to say to the players, hey, here's why you're here. Here's a thing we can all agree on. This guy's a piece of crap. Here's an awesome level. Here's the game mechanics. Are you having fun? Is this cool? And when you play Persona 5 for about an hour, yes, you're having fun. There's lots of cool stuff to do. And you see your villains. He's obviously villainous. There's no redeeming quality aside from his humanity, which you're trying to save. So you want to get the puck in the net. So it makes sense. It's clear. You want to keep playing and find out what's next. That's what's great about Persona. It reels you in. And it keeps doing it over and over again, every chapter. And every character gets released that way. They have their own problem to deal with, and you get a new one. You help them out. You beef up your own personas. You get new personas. You beef up their personas. It's interesting. It's personal. So once you have a problem that's dealt with, you don't have to deal with it anymore. It's good. We've grown past it. The story can continue in its own other way. But he says it doesn't, but we'll find out. Jake the Surgeon, but what are women if not objects? Everything's an object. If you're just going to use the term object, everything in the universe is an object. So they're not thinking of it that way, though. They're thinking of it as sexual objects, which is somehow a bad thing. But he will describe his own definition, I'm sure.
Isn't something that's entirely uncommon in video games, and indeed anime. In fact, you could argue that it's rampant, especially in the latter. There have been endless debates about how women are presented in the media, and in Japanese media, specifically anime, it tends to be the case that female characters are often portrayed in a way that accentuates their anatomy. Skimpy clothing that's sometimes revealing a good amount of skin, large breasts, slim figures, and shapely butts.
So?
Sometimes the creators try to justify the clothing through story or themes.
You don't need
like
to
how in
fucking
Kill
justify
la
it,
Kill,
bro.
Ryuko's battle outfit, or kamui,
You don't. It's not something that needs to be justified. Like what?
Message
What
coming
do you
in.
mean justify it,
Patching it
bro?
through.
What's wrong with making media that has skimpy outfits for girls that guys like looking at? What's wrong with this?
Message coming in.
So
Patching it through.
I mean, what? Like literally, what? You just like so it's like oh they're in skimpy clothes. Like what? Okay, and like what? How is that? Why is that a problem?
Yeah,
How is that objectifying?
We see that in Western wrestling. We see that in all sorts of media, live action or otherwise. What's wrong with that? Please tell us.
Like I'm just.
is so skimpy because the fibers feed off the blood of the wearer, and if it covers less surface area, it keeps them from being overwhelmed by it. It's definitely one hell of a logical leap, but the justification is about as flimsy as the outfits.
Okay, that's the anime Kill la Kill. I'm not a fan of Kill la Kill. I haven't really watched it, but I didn't like the concept of the first episodes. I never bothered. But yeah, guess what? There's a lore explanation. Bravo. What more do you want, sir? What is wrong with having women who are attractive at any age that are attractive to the audience? I failed to see the problem here.
But well, how does it objectify them? How does it imply that they're objects or anything
Message
like
coming
that?
in.
Like that's just
Patching it through.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
In Kill la Kill, they're superheroes essentially. In most animes, they're superheroes, but it's, this is stylistic. This is what
Message coming in.
manga artists do.
Patching it through.
They draw a really cool design of a character. They make it appealing to the audience, and they go, okay, now I'm going to make a sword that gets summoned from their hair, and it's going to look really like flexible and whatever. It's like, wow, that's crazy. So I like these ideas, that crazy ideas, which you see in comics all throughout the world anyway. And when you look at Western comics, these are like built, tall, gorgeous men and women flying around in spandex, getting their clothing blown off and bloodied. It's like, yeah, you want
Message
to see
coming
some
in.
stakes. You want to see some
Patching it
damage
through.
and people fighting for reasons. So depicting them visually is what you do. They have, if they don't look good doing it, even if they're not visually appealing, like sexually appealing, why are you reading the comic? Why would you want to read something which is unappealing to you? I'm not sure what the point is there. Anyway, I got to catch up with some super chats. I apologize. Alex Halo gave me 2 super chats. The same thing. Anime school is never realistic. Yeah, that's pretty much true. It's hard to find a realistic school in anime unless it's a contemporary story. Rock says Uzi, his points are either very
Message coming in.
vague
Patching it through.
or he either ignores the context and makes it look much worse than what it actually is. Yes, men like sexy girls. I think girls like attractive girls too, whether they're sexy or cute or partially revealing. They know that they look good. Why? Who doesn't like attractive looking people? Taker 610. What are women but miserable piles of secrets? Oh, see that to me, like, you chose my favorite game. There you go. Oh boy. Now I just need the wine glass shattering sound. Jake the Surgeon. Maybe we should skip out on the soy injections, down some whiskey, grow some hair on this chest, and lay with the woman. Maybe then he'll be a real man. I don't know. Not everyone likes whiskey. You can't force that on anyone. It's an acquired taste. And nowadays we got to stay indoors, so maybe not the best idea to go out there and get yourself a lady, at least this time of year, maybe later on in the year. Why not? One more from Alex Halo. Anime has very attractive male characters as well. Yes, it does. It doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, watch something like fucking Free, like Free Iwatobi Swim Club.
Oh boy.
Like
Any sports anime, yeah. Baki, all kinds of ridiculously beefy dudes beating the crap out of each other. So there's anime for everyone. There's gay anime. There's gay porn anime or manga.
This guy would have a fucking heart attack if he saw Keijo.
Oh really? I don't know that one. But there's so much. Again, there's something for everything. I'm sure except maybe the woke crowd. I don't know about the woke crowd in general, but I'm sure someone can appreciate something in manga and anime that they haven't seen yet, and it'll adhere to their tastes, which is the beauty of anime or manga in general. Okay. So here we're talking about Kill la Kill. Let's get back to Persona, please.
Especially when is the transformation scene. I'm just gonna stop it there. I don't want to get demonetized. One theory I'd like to talk about that's relevant to how women are portrayed in media is the male gaze.
Oh, here we go.
Male gaze.
Oh no.
This theory was created by feminist film critic Laura Mulvey. She claimed that the male gaze is when women in film, and by extension all visual media, are portrayed through the lens of a heterosexual male. This occurs via three perspectives.
How about if it's the lens of a non-heterosexual male? What's the problem? Don't you want the female characters in your story to look good? Why not? If you got Megan Fox on screen, make her look good. What's wrong with that? This is standard stuff, right? You want your characters to be in frame and look good.
Patching it through.
Eyes of the creator, one through the male characters within the media in question, and lastly, the perspective of the audience.
Wow, this is...
Patching it through.
So the male gaze exists in three different realms.
Okay, and?
I'm like, what's the problem? I don't get it. So the film guy, the director guy, and the audience guys.
I mean, so Bayonetta was made by a woman. Is that still male gaze?
Apparently so.
Does he have internalized male gaze?
I'm thinking like a male.
See, has a man inside her mind looking out through her eyes.
Believe it or not, women who are manga artists know how to draw women very well. And it shows. Not to say the men are bad, but women just know how to do it very well. So, nothing wrong with that.
Why is Transformers always the example when it's like male gaze? Why is it always Transformers? They always come back to Transformers.
Well, he brought up Kill la Kill, which is unexpected, but he just wanted to talk about the outfit. Whereas Megan Fox is in the film just because she looks great.
Like, I feel like all these people went to the same fucking gender studies class. Like, the exact same class. Like, they were in the same classroom. Like, this guy and Lindsay Ellis coming in. And stuff.
Patching it through.
I don't mind.
They all got the exact same points.
Yeah, I don't mind using the perspective because we can learn a little bit about why we frame things in certain ways. But I see nothing inherently wrong with doing that. Like, you can call it the male gaze. You can call it another frame the female gaze. I don't know what that would be, but that would make logical sense. If you have a male gaze, there would be an alternative female gaze. And I want to say, what is wrong with having a male gaze? What's wrong with having a heterosexual or homosexual or whatever sexual frame of a certain
even
thing?
In Persona 5, there's a lot of male character fan service as well.
Yeah. There's so many characters, though, so you can't...
When you can go to like the bathhouse and stuff with the other male characters, that's fan service. That's look at these sexy boys.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Yusuke is very emotional with all of his crazy ideas.
Fairly even-handed, like.
When they write a Persona game, they don't hold anything back. They are like, let's do as much as we can with our characters. So you get a lot of comedy and a lot of fun scenarios. So I think it's a great thing. And I'm glad they have. I'm glad Japan, at least Atlas from Japan, can come up with stuff like this, because I don't think a Western company could ever do something like as crazy and detailed as the world of Tokyo in Persona 5. Anyway, let's keep going. Rock Suzuki. Female objectification is a textbook example of pseudoscience. It's all BS backed by man-hating. I don't know.
I think that's just. I think you're giving them too much credit in terms of like. I think they're just dumb. I think they're just silly. They're just silly billies.
There's obviously a little bit of jealousy, I think, when you look at, oh, well, that woman's too attractive. Because a lot of women, I think every girl that I've ever met is always concerned about how they look, whether you're young or old, especially when you're old.
I always hear like they'll always say that no, I'm not trying to look good for to look attractive. I'm doing it for me. But if you tell them that they don't look good, that they'll be really, really mad.
Yeah, but they want to look really good for themselves, so others either subconsciously say, "Oh, that's a nice looking lady," or "That's a handsome looking lady," or whatever look they're going for. That's the look they're going for to give off to the world. They don't need the external validation that they look good. They want to tell themselves, "I look good, but I'm doing it so others know."
Message coming in.
But they don't need to hear that. I think it's a standard thing when you do something all your life in the mirror. Whether you're getting ready for work or a date or whatever you're doing socially, you give off a certain look, a certain attitude. And once women do that certain makeup that they've been doing for 10, 20 years in the mirror, it's like, this is me. This is what I do. And I'm going to look great. So there's a lot of pride in that. So when you see other girls on screen and you have this weird, I don't know, feminist slant to your mentality, you're like, oh, just a bunch of art characters on the screen, an animation on a video game for young males. That's not real. That's not what beauty is. That's not my understanding of beauty. I think there's a little bit of jealousy in all of that underlying it, but that's just my take. Jake the Surgeon, show him Queen's Blade. Oh, well, yeah, other Atlas games. Is that Atlas, Queen's Blade? I can't remember.
Is that not like an anime or something?
Oh, yeah, but it was based off a video game, wasn't it?
I guess.
I think it was like, there's Odin Sphere. Those were from Atlas, I think. And then there was that crazy arcade beat 'em up, which had the big titty sorceress chick, and everyone was flipping out over the witch, I think. I can't remember. But, these silly little character designs drive people nuts for some dumb reason. Like, it's a cartoon. Who cares? Jake the Surgeon. Of course, he's a fart-huffing only elitist bundle of sticks. Wow. What? Jake, what do you... I think you got your swear words mixed up there. Oh, dear. Alex Halo again. There was a woke yaoi game at the Fujoshi hated it? Who's Fujoshi?
Fujoshi is like fans of yaoi.
Really?
Like female fans of yaoi things, if I understand.
Oh, wow. They could tell. They can really tell when they screw up the genre and they add crap to it. Yeah. Women know what they want. Don't screw it up for them. Sekirei was mandatory by a woman. Sekirei, that's an anime manga. I know that one. Mandatory. Was it made by a woman? Is that what you're trying to say? Mandatory by a woman? Okay, whatever. I think I got what you're trying to say. And Taker610. How is the lesbian gaze different from male gaze? Oh, dear. Yeah.
Well, because it's not oppressive.
Yeah, it's not part of the patriarchy.
Your lesbian partner, telling you how they're not oppressive while they beat you. It's like, it's not oppression because of the systems of institutional patriarchy. Now shut the fuck up, bitch, and make me a sandwich.
If you like looking at ladies, you like looking at ladies. So can we all respect the medium, please? Can we all appreciate the gorgeous girls and boys on screen? Is that so hard? Anyway.
Because all forms of media are largely dominated by men, it means that the way we
See that? That was gorgeous. I absolutely love
Are
that shot.
romance novels dominated by men?
No.
No, they are not.
Harlequin
They are very
romance?
much
Absolutely not.
Even I think even books in general are probably not male dominated.
It really depends.
If you actually looked at how the volume of writers, like how many writers,
It really depends on the genre, because who reads what? And we said romance.
even like young adult is like quite female.
It depends. It really depends. There's so much young adult stuff out there for everyone, not just boys and girls. So Nancy Drew has the Hardy Boys. I always talk about what's his name, the guy who writes the Scythe series, just because it was recently came out last year. It's those sort of stories which are just gory and scary, which aren't necessarily Neil Shusterman rather. They're not just for
Message
the male
coming in.
or female. They're for people
Patch
who
it through.
like alternate young adult fiction. So it's science fiction-ish, it's fantasy-ish. Like Terry Brooks is pretty well known across the world for being a Tolkien light, but his books aren't gigantic like Tolkien, so anyone can pick them up. But they're contemporary stories as well, as with a little bit of magic elements. So it really depends on what you like. And girls generally like reading more than boys generally like playing games more. So boys are more visually oriented, women are more socially oriented. So you could argue that's more of a musical thing or a literary thing. But it really depends on your tastes and what you like doing with your spare time. So there's really no target audience, I would say,
Message coming in.
for books.
Patch it through.
But the genre, yeah, for sure, you can definitely figure that out. very
Yeah, but
easily.
I think the problem with a lot of this like feminist theory shit is that it's a lot of
Message coming in.
unfalsifiable bullshit
Patch
that
it
you
through.
can just always move the goalposts for how it's still technically oppression. Like you can go, oh well, you see, this has female characters portrayed in a sexy way to appeal to to appeal to male audience, a heterosexual male audience, and then you show them something where it's man portrayed in a sexy way specifically to appeal to a female audience, and they'll still say, oh well, you don't understand, that's different because, and then have this whole load of waffle of word salad about feminist theory about how it's actually still oppressive to women. They'll always find a way to justify how, oh well, no, it's still, the progressive stack is still in the direction that I have decided that it's in.
There's a lot. I don't know about you, but I haven't read them, but there's lots of reverse harem stories on manga websites, like big ones that have going on for years. So they exist for a reason. And there's lots of stories that they're like slightly more adult, slightly less adult. There's just a range of qualities of the genre for people who like those stories. So it's not unheard of. I bet there's lots of guys who read them too because they're cool. They're well drawn, lots of drama, a little bit of romance sometimes. They're usually mostly innocent, but there's lots of adult ones too. So again, there's something for everyone, and these people just don't know that. And if they did, they go, "Oh yeah, manga's fine. Manga's for everyone. We get it." But they don't care because they only see like the Narutos and the Dragon Balls. So, Jake the Surgeon, made by a woman. I'm about to throw who made this autocorrect into the the caramel clutch, break their back and make them humble. I knew what you were talking about, Jake. It was just so funny to read. I was like, whoa. But thanks again. Roxas Uzi. This guy would hate Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Game has loads of sexy women and the game doesn't care. I love it so much. Such a good game. Yeah, no, it's a very well put together game.
Yeah.
There are some problems, of course, but yeah, the character designs are very clean and very pretty, actually. So, yeah. Alex Halo again. HoloLive gay VTuber Matsuri, the more skin the better. Is that a thing? Is that a real person? I have no idea. But thanks for that random reference there, Alex. Do appreciate my lack of understanding of the manga anime world. Always chat to refresh my memory that I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's go.
Women in media. as a whole has created a standard in how they are represented, and that standard has been set by men. Some people argue that even within media made by female producers, the male gaze can still be present, as their works may have been influenced
because
by
they engage in
media, thus
men-plastics.
perpetuating the standard created by men. As early
This
as
is unfalsifiable. Like, you can never falsify this because you can always just move the goalposts.
It's silly. We know it's silly.
Kamashida's Palace get an example of the male gaze. When characters in Persona 5 awaken to their powers, or their persona, they undergo a transformation where they're given an outfit which is supposed to represent them. Akira and Ryuji are the first to awaken.
Message coming in.
Both of them wear outfits designed to show you how cool and tough they are. Prominent angular features and hints that they offer some kind of protection. Anne, however, is bestowed with this as an outfit. Yes, the character who has been objectified by the game's current antagonist is given a skin-tight leather catsuit that accentuates the bust. It also has a zipper which really has to be uncomfortable, right? Ryuji comments upon how Anne looks by saying,
"But damn!"
And when deciding upon a codename for her, one of the options is Sexy Cat. However, it's a throwaway option as Anne's codename is Panther by default. I also want to mention that outside of school and fighting Freudian foes, Anne is a part-time model. The game makes it clear that Anne is an attractive young woman that catches the eyes of many people, and she's aware of it too. She understands that beauty has value and wants to develop a career in which she can make money from her genetic blessings.
Okay, so this is all good stuff. Here we have an intelligent narrative where we know Anne is attractive. She's one of the more attractive characters in the game. She's aware of this, and she wants to be a model in her career. This is one of her goals in life. She's not stupid about she looks good. That guys look at her and go, wow, she's sexy. This is good writing. You're making an attractive character. She's cognizant of that fact, and one of her goals is, hey, I want to be a model.
Message coming in.
And that's one of the life paths you have to talk to her about to figure out, oh, maybe, this is something I want to do, and I got to get my confidence up and do all these things. And the interplay, that's why I really like the conversations between An and Ryuji. They are like they just seem like buddy, and Ryuji's too shy to like ask her out. It always seems like he's into her, but he can't do it because he respects her too much.
Yeah, but I think he's missing the key fucking metaphor here with the outfit. Which, like, the obvious thing, the elephant in the room, if you will, which is that it's clearly, like, basically like a dominatrix outfit, basically, with the leather and the whip and everything. And it's like, so clearly the point is that she's now, like, in a dominant position, and she's in control, and she is in charge, she's in charge of her own destiny. She's taking control. She's taking the dominant position in her life, basically. So, like, that's the point, I would say. That is, like, pretty much why it's that outfit, and why it's not just, like, I guess, like, he's trying to make it out like it's hypocritical, but, like, no, like, that's completely in theme. It's completely makes sense.
He was using the two guys' outfit because they were more protected or more covered to be, like, its armor, but she just has this leather outfit. You're like,
Message coming in.
It doesn't. Talking about damage in the mind or mindscape world of the Persona games is always like, we have no idea how guns work or swords work exactly. So it's like whatever they want to do. So when we talk about the real world, how she's taking control of her life to become a model, she's in control now. Why wouldn't that also reflect in the dream world? Because that's usually what Persona games do. They reflect the same in just an exaggerated way in the mindscape. So. You're right. I think that analogy or that understanding of the look she has, especially with Makoto, very, very similar as well. Same personality, matches up fairly well. I think it works. I think design.
Yeah, like I think it's completely thematically like consistent. Like it makes complete sense, and it's not just like, oh, it's fucking sexy. Like, that's not, like, there's more to it than that. Do you know what I mean?
Which is really cool, because in the previous Persona games, they never changed their outfits. It was always, the persona was the reflection of their inner minds. And it still is in the Persona 5. But now they have this whole identity because they're thieves and they got to hide their identity so no one knows what they look like if ever they could see them. It usually only occurs with Joker, but that's part of the concept. So they have to hide themselves, and they're kind of glamorous about it because they're having fun. So I like that element that they're hiding their identity as well, even though they're in the weird dream world thing, along with the personification of their innermost feelings that they got to defeat, as well as the persona itself. So they have all these wonderful symbolisms and imageries running around, and it's kind of crazy what artists can do. Like if I was an artist, I would love to work on this game. Throw me anywhere. I would do any, character design, level design, villains, like anything. I would just love to do it. There's so much creativity running around in this story. Anyway, I agree with you on the design of the outfit. So, Jake the Surgeon, thank you again. Boiling down the portrayal anime girls to such a superficial degree is hypocritical. I think he's just taking the surface level and not thinking about it. That's what I think is going down, and that's fine.
It's weird. It's like he's thinking about it a lot in some ways, and then completely missing the really obvious thing.
Well, that's because he's using the lens of the male gaze, because her outfit accentuates the bust, right? You're like, oh, it's just for guys to look at her chest. You're like, well, no, that's part of it. She also has a tail attached to her outfit and a whip.
She has a fucking whip. Like, what are you... how does that not scream, like, Dom?
Yeah.
Like, how does that... And the fact that, the metaphor here is so fucking obvious. And this guy who seems to be going out of his way to go, see, and here's how it feels, objectification. Like, and going into these really, like, obscure sort of feminist rhetoric, when the obvious answer is, like, just right there.
And every time they get their persona and they get their mask, it's always from a place of, like, I've had enough. I gotta change. I gotta grow, which is kind of the opposite usually in stories, because that's a climax of a story where they finally figure out what they have to do. And this is like their miniature little character moment where they grow up and say, I gotta put my foot down and become a hero. And that happens with every single character. I think even with Haru, if I can remember.
Oh, you don't actually see her awakening.
Message coming.
Well,
yeah.
I suppose you kind of
Patching
do.
it through.
But she already has her persona.
Yeah. That's what I would have liked to have seen with Haru.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that. Yeah.
Hers is a really cool
Would have been
design.
interesting. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see maybe if there was like a boss or something, and maybe you only play as her for a bit, maybe.
Yeah, she's got a
before
she's got like a
side story kind of thing.
What is it, an axe and a grenade launcher? I can't remember what her weapons are.
Because obviously, like I think she goes into the palace before the rest of the people, and then you meet her.
Yeah. She
when
ends up being her
join.
own thing, and then she joins up. Yeah.
Because I would have liked to see her actually getting her persona and what actually happened that particularly caused it. Yeah. A little bit annoying that it skips, that you don't actually get to see that.
Yep.
With Haru.
All right. Let's keep going. Jake the Surgeon. Just say, put her in a burqa, you fruit.
Based.
Yeah. You know what? If she had that her top zipped up, would he have complained?
She becomes liberated from her evil, oppressive male patriarch that's oppressing her, and when she becomes so liberated that she wears a burqa now because she's so liberated.
Can't have fun looking at the cute chick with the whip. No, it's not fun. Can't look.
No, men enjoy it. That means it's bad.
It's bad. Joe Crazy. Wait, it's still considered the male gaze when a chick designs the character? There is no winning with these
There's
soy
no
sucking.
winning. Yeah.
The soy sucking goobers. I like that, goobers. Okay. Solid Redfield, how you doing? Can only imagine what this dude thinks about Senran Kagura. Yeah, well.
That is quite a profile picture there, Solid Redfield.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mentioned that the first time I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what we want to see from our chat. It's like, yeah, guys, give us the anime avatars. Just go crazy. I think that's the one thing you can't go too crazy with YouTube, but they let you do a lot with it. So, alrighty. Finally, let's go.
There are many elements within feminist theory that claim modeling in itself is a form of exploitation, that much like the rest of media, it's subject to the male gaze, and the choice of models and fashion that they wear are chosen to appeal to men. Some claim that...
How dare women take a job where they're proud of their sexuality and can make money and a living off of it and get paid crazy amounts of money? Oh my God, I have amazing diet and genetics. Why shouldn't I take advantage of that?
There was a video on, I don't know if you're familiar with Teal Deer.
Yes, I know Teal Deer.
Familiar with Teal Deer? Yeah, he has a video on his channel where he goes into... There was like an article that said like, oh, women are punished for being overweight in terms of getting a job, whereas men aren't. And I was trying to frame it as, see, look how sexist the world is. Look how sexist society is.
What?
But really, what it was you can be overweight as a woman and be equal to men in general in terms of likelihood to get the job. But if you're not overweight and you're a woman, then you have a better chance than men in general.
Yes.
So that's actually what's going on. It's not that overweight women are penalized. It's that women that aren't overweight are given an advantage.
Even in the marketing realm, or sorry, the modeling realm, women are in high demand. Way more than males.
Sure. Well, it's because women care more about fashion. They care more about this shit in a way that like men just kind of don't give a fuck about. Like in my experience, if you ask a man, like if you as a woman ask a man, does this look good on me? They'll probably just go, yeah, whatever, yeah. Yeah,
Message coming in.
Looks good, I guess. Yeah.
Patching it through.
Like they're not gonna have that many opinions on it.
It's interesting how the culture of women,
message coming
because they're so aware
patching it through
of attracting people to whatever reason they want, that they're sensitive to how they look, and there's a whole culture surrounding products and diet and athleticism and all this stuff just to appeal to a person visually. And through that process, it's not just all surface level crap. These are women who routinely have exercise, dieting, lifestyle choices that they give up on to look good. So maybe they even do that academically. They go into kinesthesiology or nutritional areas of study, biology, to focus their career on that. So there's all this wonderful attention. And we didn't even talk about fashion or makeup artistry or architecture or anything like that, which is creative aspects. So women have a very sensitive, either conditioned or natural look to the world that men simply just don't seem to care for. I just think that women care way more about it than men actually do. I don't think this pressure comes from men. It comes from other women. It comes from competing with other women. Okay. Jake the Surgeon. Feminist theory is the flat earth science of sociology. Interesting. I wouldn't say in general. It's when they have when they create stuff like the male gaze, I'm thinking that's a bit strange. I understand the concept, but they take it too far.
It's more the homeopathy of sociology. It's the sort of vague, just very, very vague, watered down bullshit that you can just sort of claim anything.
Yeah, it's like saying objectification is different than sexualization, but some people don't know that, so they just combine the two. It's always a male perspective, even though women can have exactly the same reaction to looking at attractive women. So there's lots of studies I could probably reference back in my day when I was studying psych, where they did computer generated faces, and men and women at random were asked what looks more attractive. It was always the men and women who had the most female features. So a tighter chin, higher cheekbones, more defined eyes, certain amounts of symmetry and balance between
Message coming in.
the eyelids and the nose.
Patching it through.
So all these little variables, it's called the rule of the averages, or the law of averages, that you take the sum of all your experiences of a thing and you say, I'm attracted to all of the elements that I've seen as a whole. So nothing specific, but so a balance between certain facial structures and eye distances and eye lengths and heights and
yeah. I think there's a lot of though, just like you kind of want people to look like yourself. Like people are kind of narcissistic, in a way. Like they want to see features that they have, in other people's faces that they find attractive. Mostly
depends. It really depends on the individual, and I'm sure there's all kinds of phenotypes specific to certain ethnicities that other ethnicities from them are only attracted to.
It's not just ethnicity. It's like even more like specific than that. Like it's just things like even within ethnicity, there's like things like just like I guess like the length of the nose or how far apart the eyes are,
right.
And like all these things you're not thinking about when you're choosing who's more attractive. But if you did an analysis of it, it would show up.
I'm always reminded of the character creator or the face creator in the first Mass Effect game, because you can do all these ridiculous distances between eyeballs, and really short together, really far away, really high up in the brow, really low in the brow. It's just like, oh boy, you can do some crazy things just with the eyeballs. So I thought that was rather clever. Why even have that detail? I don't know. But they were just playing with their engine at the time. But anyway, cool conversation. We'll just skip right ahead because we don't need to go into that for this conversation, at least. Taker 610, bit of a skeleton crew running with the Smudcast today. Yeah, we're just really into Persona, and so is the YouTuber. So we thought keep it simple, and we could add some more people, but I don't want to jam people in just for the sake of it. I think we're more than enough to talk about Persona. So, Joe Crazy, and then we get started on the video again. How dare men objectify women through modeling? Translation: how dare another woman look more attractive than me? Oh, oh boy. Well, that's part of the jealousy I was talking about. Maybe that's the case, but I think there's a little bit of jealousy in all these feminist theories, but I could be wrong. Anyway.
It's empowering in that giving women a platform in which they can influence culture moves the power balance closer to their favor. But you could also
I don't think that's why women go into modeling at all. They don't care about the power balance of this or that. They want to
No, they're not going in. It's not about sending a message, it's about the money.
Okay, I've spoken to models. One of my teachers was a model. She got out of it because there are so many opportunities for you to get raped as a model if you're not careful. So you got to really watch yourself. It's a dangerous profession, but usually with your professionals, you're fine. So lots of guys, especially when you're an attractive lady. But anyway.
Argue that in a society that's dominated by the patriarchy, women may have to lie to themselves that they're reclaiming their sexuality in order to more comfortably pander to the male gaze, which is honestly a super depressing take, and personally, I don't subscribe to it. It's a
what a wow! I don't understand that at all.
You could argue, and then going off into the weeds somewhere, and then kind of going, oh, okay, but I don't think that. Like, oh, so that was a waste of time.
they're gaining control of their sexuality by still appealing to the male gaze. Wait a second. Oh.
Huge topic that's been discussed for about a century now, and I won't get into it here, but the point is, Anne has chosen this path. She decided that she is fine with the world admiring her for her beauty, and she knows how people see her. I'm sure that some people would argue that because Anne is accepting of the world seeing her as a beautiful person, then we as an audience shouldn't see it as a problem when the game does so too. The problem here, though, is that when the game objectifies her, it's done to titillate
It's not objectifying. It's not objectifying her.
She's literally a model.
Not objectified. She's so fleshed out as a character. Like what do you fucking mean, dude? What do you fucking mean? How the fuck?
we're shown and told that people get their outfits from the metaverse or whatever you want to call the Mindscape world that of Persona 5, where their costumes come from, where their masks come from. The reason why she's in this whole predicament is she cared for her friend Shiho, and she wants to protect her. So we understand An as a character, at least at this point in the story, and we understand where her outfit comes from. The fact that it's red and sexy and skin tight doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I think it's great that she is naive and yet struggling.
That takes away. I don't think it takes away from any message in it at all.
There's nothing wrong with women of her age looking attractive and empowering and domineering and beating the shit out of her enemies. What's wrong with that?
I'm just like,
I think one of the major themes of all of the personas is rebellion. Everyone is sort of going against the grain to fix things.
It's very much we live in a society type of things, you know.
So I think it's stronger in Persona 5 because of all the elements therein, other themes as well. But even in 3, it was like, you got to fix the problems.
Yeah, in 5 it's pretty on the nose. It's pretty much these darn adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Persona 4 is kind of like a different tone, but it's still there. You know, still an element there. Anyway, Jake the Surgeon. I'm about ready to plunge this American-made Pringles can down his throat. What is up with you and Pringles cans?
Pringles cans.
Are you sure you ran out and started using tennis ball
Message
cans?
coming in.
Just Pringles cans? All right.
Patching it through.
And give him a taste of these salty chips to stop his pretentious voice. Oh, okay. That's a good analogy. All right. Okay. Well, you know, he loves Persona 5, but then he's got this woke filter, right? So he's like, oh, I like it, but it's sexually deviating from what I think is right.
Oh, well, it treats her as an object. I mean, just ignore the entire, whole fucking game where she's given all this characterization and how she's, has all this value in all these other ways. And if as you're playing the game, you, she's useful to you as a member of the team. So it's like, what do you mean? How does the game treat her as an object in any fucking way just because some male members of the audience might be titillated?
Yeah, and I think he's only focusing on the fact that she's a model and attractive. If he looked at the rest, he wouldn't say that, because if he knows Persona 5 as I think he does, there's lots of wonderful characterization of An, the social link with An. There's all sorts of detail we can go through. So that's again a great thing about these games. You have to go through these characters to find out their stories, which in turn change your gameplay. All these are good things. And it doesn't matter if An was like, I'm a hot chick, and she's not showing it off like she's prideful, like obnoxiously so. She's just like, I'm a model and I'm really scared and I don't know what to do and I'm not sure whether I should do that or not. And you have to help her through that, figuring out what she wants to do with her life. That's a great thing to do for kids, figuring out what they want to do with their lives. It just so happens she's attractive. She's using it to her advantage. Good for her. But no, she looks like a dominatrix because she's leather. Like, oh no.
Expresses he doesn't consent to being objectified, two notable instances being during a fireworks festival cutscene where the boys peep at and...
This has nothing to do with objectification.
What? How? What?
She's drying her clothes and she's lifting her
Teenage
skirt.
boys are fucking horny. Wow, call the fucking horny police. The teenage boy characters are horny. Oh my gosh. Wow, call the fucking horny police.
And what's wrong with looking at a girl's legs when she's in a kimono and she lifts it up to her knees and she's squeezing out the water?
How does that objectify her though?
Yeah.
How does that, it's what, finding someone, looking at someone and being like, wow, it's I'm kind of hot, not gonna lie. Oh my god, you're objectifying
Message coming
her.
in. Patching it through.
You can't appreciate her legs. That's mean. Wow. Okay.
Bizarre. Like what kind of it's just weird. It's how can you look at someone you find attractive and not objectify them? And by this standard, like, it's just bizarre.
Maybe he wants everyone to go back to like 100 years ago, where all the outfits were very conservative, and dresses were down to your ankles. But I guess that's what kimonos are, right? They're pretty much these elaborate dresses you wear. What is wrong with looking at girls? I don't get
You
it.
get to look at women.
Oh yeah, that's the argument we've got for this guy. You get to look at girls, or On's legs. Joe Vile. This guy must be very lonely. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like he didn't play the game. it just seems like he didn't even play the game.
And again, we're looking at these two characters on screen they have such good chemistry because they're pretty much in the same mental world. Like, they're both the same age. They're both sort of jocks. Like, On's not really a jock, but they're obviously visually oriented, so they know what's going on. And they're kind of like brother and sister in that regard, even though he's obviously into her, but it's not like he's confident about his emotions.
Yeah.
And we see it later. There's going to be a scene I want to show you later that's really important.
Showing her leg. What is it, 1920s? And later on, where they're driving in the desert and they peek down her shirt.
Okay, and again, teenage boys are horny. Call the fucking
These
police.
scenes are both animated, created outside of the game's engine. Overall, there's just over an hour's worth of scenes in this style throughout the game. So given that the game can be upwards of 100 hours, these moments are sparse. It's telling that in these rare occasions when we're treated to an animated scene, there are numerous inclusions of female characters being objectified for the sake of the audience.
Really?
Bro.
Which scenes? I didn't see any scenes so far.
What are you on about?
I'm trying to think. Maybe, what's her name? Who's the doctor again? I can't remember her name.
Oh.
But the menu system with her, whenever you like scroll down or whatever, like her legs, like she spins them around. And it's really cool. Would that be objectification of the doctor?
Oh no, sexy woman.
Sexy legs. Oh no.
No, you can't be sexy. No.
And that's like a menu system, so it's like a monotone. So there's a green. Is it green or red? I can't remember the color, but it's white and green. All the menu systems are very stylized that way, so it looks so cool. Anyway.
And it's especially uncomfortable when the target of objectification is a character that was the target of a predator. In Persona...
No, it's not uncomfortable. You've gone through that stage of the story. Everyone addressed the issue. You vanquished the foe. We've grown as a group. We found a new friend. She's no longer a target of what objectification or whatever. She's your classmate and your confidant to go on a quest together. That's a beautiful thing. What's wrong with looking at her? Just because she's attractive.
Don't even fucking look at them. It's like that scene. He expects all men to just go around all day, like that one scene in fucking Elf, where she's like, "Don't look at me," and he's just like,
yeah, but even with
his face.
Even with the scene where she got her kimono all wet, what were the guys doing? They were looking away. They weren't staring at her. They noticed
kind
it.
of like sneaking a peek, They were sneaking a peek here and there, but it's not like what? It's not. What is the problem? Don't look at women. Don't fucking look at them. Don't fucking look at them. Especially not if you're horny.
A bunch of three. Okay, this is interesting with the three guys. All right, so we have Ryuji, who's very athletically minded. He's very physical. So obviously he's going to look at On as a beautiful lady. We have our own character who's like a Chad. He's just running around. He's like doing everything. And then we have Yusuke, who's an artist who's obsessed with art. So he'll do anything to look at poses and legs and arms and this and that. So
yeah, I don't think it's like sexual for him at all.
No, he's always like
Like,
aesthetic. Is this beauty? Can I capture this beauty in my mind? You know, he's
He
crazy.
doesn't strike me as like, oh, I'll get her naked. I'm so fucking horny. Like, no, generally just seems like, what's the problem? It's just art.
He's a bit passionate about his art, which is crazy cool because he's so crazy about it. But even he'll say like stuff like, yeah, I wish I could pose you nude because, you know, I'll get more color out of the paint or whatever. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm not taking my clothes off. And there's that funny scene where she puts clothes on because he eventually gets her to model for him, and she comes out in all this clothing. It's so funny. These are great scenes. There's a great storylines. They're fantastic. Anyway, let's keep going. Evie, thank you. All the boys are looking in the opposite direction in the scene shown. They are literally showing her respect. Exactly. They noticed what was going on.
Not to look, but they're horny teenagers.
And they saw it, and they went, "Oh,
like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah."
It's just bizarre. Like, what the fuck?
He lost the context of the shot, I think. Yeah. Rock Suzuki. Nothing is wrong about looking at women. I agree. When I met my girlfriend a few months ago at the bar, you bet I was looking at her, and you bet she knew. Well, I would hope so, because first impressions are everything, so I'm glad it worked out. And, yeah. I'm surprised you got to a bar, though, a few months ago. Where in the world are you, sir? Like,
Message coming in.
I want to go to those
Patching it
bars. If they're open. Definitely not in Toronto. Jake the Surgeon. I'm gonna swallow some CO2 in my boss. Okay.
What? Why?
Did you mean carbon monoxide, or you're not? I don't know what you're trying to do, but okay. Anyway, let's keep going.
Five's defense. There are parts of the story.
I love the way we have in the background the fucking advert with the fucking muscular guy in the speedos.
You're objectifying men.
Message
You talk
Okay.
about objectification, you just have that
Patching
in the
it
background.
All these advertisements in CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077 is heteronormative objectification of trans rights. Or something. I can't remember what the argument was. I still can't believe that was a thing. A bloody advertisement. You're sexualizing the trans community. It's like, what? Who's doing what? A billboard? What? Jake the Surgeon. Either will bring me release. All right. I mean,
Message coming in.
whatever works
Patching
for
it
you,
through.
Jake. You carbon
Say
dioxide.
whatever floats your boat, but I don't think
Yeah.
those will really do it.
I don't know if that's healthy. Yeah, maybe some O2 would be the best idea, but I don't know. Anyway, let's go.
Where femalification and exploitation are further admonished. In an early part of the
Exploitation.
game, one of your party members, Makoto, is blackmailed by a figurehead in an organized crime group, and told that if she and her friends are unable to pay him a large sum of money, then as a consequence he'll force her into sex work, and making various comments on how a girl like her would get a lot of clients.
Okay.
This is all a good thing. Every part
Evil guy is evil.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
this is good, especially when you're talking about sex work or objectification or sexual assault. Guess what? Make a villain out of that element, tell a good story, and you'll have people who want to keep reading your book or playing your game. This is a perfect example. This is a piece of crap kind of guy. You can call him a mob boss or whatever. What's the name for all these people that turn women into whores or whatever? I don't care. That's a good villain. The thing you hate that people can understand and relate to. Fantastic. Kind of looks like Hitler with that mustache, but I don't know what's going on there. Gigantic mouth. Anyway.
It's another example of a powerful man exerting their power over women. A high school student named Hifumi is a professional shogi player, but because of her appearance, her mother wants to further her career by turning her into an idol. But Hifumi wants to be recognized for her talent rather than her beauty.
What a great story. Her parents want her to do something, but she wants to do something else. It doesn't matter if she's beautiful or whatever. Again, wonderful. Give a character, show them their conflict. Boom, done.
Yeah, I did a video on that recently. Also, a few Persona fans out there, fun little facts for you. Hifumu was actually originally supposed to be a party member.
Yes.
I think she would have been a good fit.
Cool.
Another character, Haru, is denied her autonomy when a CEO father arranges a marriage between her and the son of a potential business associate.
Okay, so this is a very common practice in various cultures still, especially in the aristocracy, but we're talking about India, China. I believe the Judaic religion does this a lot. And I actually remember talking to some of my Jewish friends and my Indian friends, and they were giving me stats because it was kind of weird because I didn't know any better. They're trying to tell me, yeah, the majority of arranged marriages work out in comparison to standard marriages.
Yeah. I like, honestly, I'm not even that opposed to the idea of, I guess, like having like the matchmaking process sort of being arranged. I don't like. I think it's probably better if there's a way for the person who's actually getting married to opt out of it at some point.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But the idea of having the parents just go and just find someone, basically.
Obviously,
I don't think that's even that bad of a thing. Honestly, I think people have a very romantic idea of marriage now, and this they're going to be the one, and they're going to be like, it's like a soulmate, and it's going to be this amazing like thing. I think it's really overhyped.
And just to make this even clearer, this practice is barely started by men. It's the women of the family who organize this. In this case, yeah, we see the male in this story, but this is pretty much a female-centered thing that happens, and they're the ones who reach out and figure out isn't it amazing how parents might actually know what marriage is about and how to find a good partner and this and that. Like just from experience as someone is married and knows what they're doing. So I'm not for or against this. I don't have a preference. I don't really care. But from the people I spoke to, the ones that did get arranged marriages, they have happy lives. They've had no problems with their husbands or wives.
Message coming in.
And the stats are amazing, which is impressive. Like you talk about standard marriages, the divorce rate is above 50% these days. Arranged marriages, it's like.
Does that include second marriages?
Second arranged marriages? I don't think there are any that I know of.
No, I mean like the marriage rate in general.
Oh, in general.
Rate, that include second and third.
I don't know.
Marriages. First marriages.
This is like from 10, 15 years ago. I remember seeing the stats, and it was above 50%. So I don't know what it's like nowadays. It's probably worse. But arranged marriages, it's single digits for divorces. So anyway, it's not a big problem, but the fact that this is a thing that you want to marry into a certain family, this has been a thing going on throughout all of history.
I think the main problem in the context of Persona 5 is that the guy is a dick. The guy's like an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's the main problem.
She has her own dreams. She doesn't want to get married yet. Yeah, there's a that's what's great about Persona. They introduce a character, then they introduce conflict. Why is this character the way they are? There's a problem that needs solving. You have to go figure that out and help them. And that's kind of what I liked in Persona 4, because you stick your nose in stuff, but people want your help. So you end up, trying to protect a friend or helping an old lady or this or that. So it's a neatly constructed narrative with gameplay elements, which I thought was cool. Anyway, Jake the Surgeon again. I put too much effort into my videos. If such vapid pandering can give someone 60k subs, I might as well belly flop into Gator Pit. Okay. Well, he knows his audience, so he's obviously doing well. More power to him. We get to critique videos like this. I see nothing wrong with it. So, all right, let's go.
Despite her being the arrangement and having no attraction to her fiancé, he makes constant unwanted advances at her, criticizes her appearance and behavior, and a major part of Haru's growth as a character is rejecting not only her vulgar fiancé, but rejecting the outdated patriarchal institution of arranged marriages. And
again, as I was saying, it's not a patriarchal institution. It's mostly organized by the ladies. So, and even nowadays, when they do have arranged marriages, it's not like you must marry this person or else. It's like, what do you think? We found you a nice girl. We found you a nice guy. Whatever. It's very consensual. It's,
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Anyway, Alex Halo, engaged to the unidentified is a good anime, or an arranged marriages to a mythical create that shapeshifts into a human, and the gay sister is hilarious. Wow, what is this called? Engaged to the unidentified. Let me just Google that really quick. I've never heard of it. All right. Oh, this is 2014. Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
Comedy manga thing.
Yeah, they're usually romantic comedies. There's a lot of those.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
What was that? Mermaid one, I think, was an arranged marriage. By mermaid law, because she saved this dude's life, then Murray has to live with her and eventually get married. What the hell is that called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with having depictions of old style culture clashes personified by a character that happens to be a teammate, and you have to go through her arc and help her out. And I don't think she's objectified at all. Anyway.
being a bargaining chip for a corporation. But despite these efforts to empower its female characters, Persona 5 unfortunately takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Really? You don't think Haru is empowered when she?
None of this matters because it has sexy women. It has sexy women, and the male characters look at them. And go,
Sei is one of the most attractive and empowered characters in the story. So is Makoto. So is Haru. So is An.
I don't think Haru is particularly sexualized, though.
No, but she is attractive. Like you just saw her in the last cut with her outfit of the noir outfit.
Yeah, but she's more like cute.
Yeah. She's got that not girl next door vibe, but the sort of sisterly vibe, I guess.
She's yeah. I find the like adult characters more attractive. I guess like the doctor and Kawakami, the teacher. The teacher,
the doctor, Sei. Yeah, those are the real like ooh.
They're
wow.
like
adults. Yeah. I'm trying to remember her name. I can't remember the doctor's name.
Takami.
Kawakami? All right.
By taking these characters and repurposing them into eye candy, they diminish the value of the message they're trying to communicate to their audience.
You think so?
Okay. Oh, that was it.
What?
Taking these characters and repurposing them into eye candy, they diminish the value of the message they're trying to communicate to their audience.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so this scene is Yusuke wants to paint or draw on, and she's like, "Is it supposed to be nude?" He's like, "I thought it was supposed to be nude." He's like, "Oh, I'll only put some clothes on," and she keeps putting more and more clothes on. Anyway, I thought it was cute.
You think so?
It's good that the game highlighted how reprehensible it is when people in power like Kamashita abuse their power and exploit women for their own gain.
Thank you.
How he sees them than little else than their bodies. But that message is unfortunately undercut when the game contains a beach scene, a staple scene within anime.
Wait, what? Why?
It is a beach scene.
How is it undercut?
Undercut, but it contains a beach scene.
What is this? The 1930s where you can't show like kissing in movies or something?
What?
Like the
what?
there's like a parental advisory board. Like, no, you can't have this scene. They're holding hands.
Scene. It's undercover because it contains a beach scene. What?
Oh my god. I don't get it. What is his point?
Includes close-up shot of Anne's butt and breasts. You can also
Oh no. Oh my god. She's a girl.
Like, this is so fucking reductive. This is so it contains shots of her butt and breasts. This is like the fucking parental advisement board or whatever. You know, like going through.
So any depiction of a girl in a bikini that zooms in or has a close up or frames her body is objectifying her. Because God forbid you look at the clothes she's wearing.
No, you will not portray the character as sexy. Do not do it. No.
I just don't get this guy.
Fuck's sake.
She's a model to be. Of course she's gonna look good. What is your problem? Do you have like?
Oh no, but it zooms in. No, no, it shows close-up shots. No, like what's fucking?
And you know what? On is probably maybe not the bustiest, but she's got a nice figure. So, and it's not exaggerated. It's not over the top. It's not one of those crazy adult animes or anything like that. This is normal.
It's no One Piece character. You know. It's
yeah. Where the proportions are crazy. Yeah.
You know.
They look normal. They look pretty normal. So, yay normal? I don't know.
also excuse by saying that this is supposed to be how the boys in the game see her, but that would still be abiding by the male gaze and more.
What the fuck? What?
The way the boys see her would be the male gaze? Why? Because the boys?
That's abiding by the male gaze. Like, what? That's not a fucking argument. Nobody cares about this male gaze shit other than you. Like, the average, like, this isn't, you can't just use that as an argument in and of itself. Most people don't give a fuck. You haven't actually shown that it has any value. You know? Like, you just kind of said, oh, it contains, it abides by the male gaze. Like, what? Just don't look at women. Like,
don't. Just if they're at a beach, just close your eyes. What is this argument? The guys look at her like guys. It's like, yeah, and do you want them to look at her there as toys? Like, what do you want them to do?
More important, the scene hasn't been created for the boys, and hasn't been created for them either. They've been created for us, the audience.
Okay, wait. Let's just, you know what? I actually got this scene. Because let me get it. You know how I was talking about On and Ryuji get along so well?
fuck's sake.
Okay, so let me just get the scene. Now, you can't hear this, doll, but... Okay, so Ryuji does the crazy
Message
like
coming in.
groping look, right?
Patching it through.
Yeah.
And then On goes. She's laughing at him. She's not offended. She's not like.
Goofball.
Yeah, she's laughing at his joke, right? So this is like a normal thing to her
Yeah.
because they get along so well. What does she do after that? Let's see.
Got a better opinion of me now?
So she's like, oh, because he did this to her, now she thinks.
The fucking popsicle stick. the way
Yeah. So now.
the way like, the stick goes up.
Yeah, so Ryuji is pretty much going, oh my god, she's hot. And she's like, oh, now you got a better opinion of me, eh? Because I'm so gorgeous.
That screenshot where she's just pointing, it's just that, but it's just horny. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
horny.
So then she
You're
puts her.
horny.
So then she puts her arm around him. Look at what she does next.
What? Cat got your tongue? Come on.
Okay, so now she's like teasing him. So she's having a good time, joking with her buddy, and she's totally she has her arm draped over the guy. They're having a good time. He's like, "Oh my god, there's this hot girl on me. She's my friend. What do I do?" That's Ryuji's whole shtick with On. He's like, "Oh my god." She's not feeling offended. She's not feeling victimized or objectified. She's having a great time. There's nothing wrong with this. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Where are we? Okay. Oh, missed some super chat. Sorry. Joe Crazy. You know, this guy probably was all for this stuff before the far left decided it was a big no-no. I don't know. I really don't know how you get woke. I really don't. You have to have the mentality of a child, and then a teacher like tells you this is bad. You can't do this. You can't think this way. Okay, and you're like, okay, mommy, and then you just go off in your life, and now you're woke. I don't get it.
Message coming in.
Like, you literally have to suspend
Match
your
it up.
intelligence to think this way. But I don't know. Taker 610. Senji's op.
One Piece.
Oh, One Piece?
Sanji from One Piece.
Oh, sorry. Nosebleeds are the best thing in anime. You know what? I really hate the nosebleeds.
I think I've watched enough anime to just find it like kind of a funny thing. But I like in One Piece, it actually plays into the plot. Like he actually gets sick from blood loss
Oh my god.
at one point. And it's actually like a plot point that he like actually loses so much blood from it, and that he's actually like sick for a while.
I find it stupid. It's I get it when it's cartoony and goofy for like the effect, like the exaggeration, but it just happens so much. Every manga does it. Every anime has to do it. You're like, okay. You expect some tropes like the bathhouse scene or the kimono festival scene. You know, those are expected.
Yeah, to me, it just I don't know. That one's just one that doesn't bother me that much. If anything, like it's weird because it's just a Japanese
Animation,
trope, I guess,
thing.
of like what happens when you're horny. I guess.
Yeah, but it might have happened to some people, but it's so rare that they just went with it to show that a guy is interested in a girl or vice versa.
Yeah, because they don't want to. They don't want to just show the erection. Yeah.
They don't want to show the girl getting like her cheeks all red. No, she has to like squirt blood out of her nose. You're like, okay.
Normally guys, though, isn't it? Like it's normally like the horny guys.
So much
you know?
blood
It's
rushes to your head so fast.
When Naruto does his sexy no jutsu.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's too much. It's too silly for me. Like I can stand when fighters or magicians shout their technique or magic. I'm used to that by now because it's part of the lore.
I'm going to punch you.
Like meteoric blast. It's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, there's a magic system in place, but
It's a really normal move. It's just it's right hook.
yeah, that's what One Punch Man is so awesome. Normal
Right hook.
consecutive punches. It's like,
Like, oh, I thought it was some special move. It's like no, it's just a right hook. But I felt I need to say the name of the attack.
he has no special power. He's just really strong.
You know, it's like
I'm going to punch
if you keep saying it, I'm gonna just keep avoiding it.
I'm going to punch you really, really hard. Let's call it really, really hard punch. How's that?
Really hard punch. You know, it's like, I knew you were gonna punch me. How did he do that? You know, it's like in his mind, the main character's like, how does he keep predicting what I'm going to do? And then inside the villain's mind, it's just, why does he keep telling me what he's about to do?
Yeah, it's so obvious. If only he'd shut his mouth, I wouldn't know what was going on.
How does he keep predicting my moves?
Anyway, let's get back to objectifying On or something. I don't know.
To wrap things up, I want to make a clarification. Firstly, I am not saying that overtly sexual character designs are a bad thing. Nor am I saying that
is what you're
being
saying.
titillated by a design is bad.
So it's not bad? Then what's the problem?
What?
What's the problem, sir? You got us confused now.
Huh?
Okay, we gotta hear this. Let me rewind it. I'm lost now.
The fucking Twilight Zone.
Firstly, I am not saying that overtly sexual character designs are a bad thing. Nor am I saying that being titillated by a design is bad.
Okay.
One thing I love about the Persona series is the fantastic character designs. In fact, I would go as far as to say that the lead character designer of the Persona series, Shigenori Soejima, is one of the best artists in the business, because he does such a good job at communicating who a character is through every aspect of them, from their hair to their clothes and their costumes. Characters such as Anne and Makoto may be wearing skin-tight clothing that highlights their bodies, but it doesn't mean that they're bad designs. In another context, a costume like Anne's could be seen as someone
What's wrong with it
reclaiming
in the
their
context that it's
sexuality
in? What's wrong with it in the
Wait a
context that
second.
it is in?
Wait a second. So he's saying the designs are fine. It doesn't matter if they're skin tight, but the context is bad. You're like, what context is that?
What is wrong with them being in that context?
When you specify a context, you're talking about a framing of the narrative. So what part of the narrative, under what conditions, what's seen that it was wrong or bad or not attractive or whatever? Like what were you talking about, sir? We got to find out. Like, is it like this context, like just the end screen? I don't see what's wrong with this.
No, I think like in the story or whatever, and it's like what's wrong with it? It makes sense.
We need a specific scene in the story to point out what he's talking about, because I'm not sure, because he just said it's fine. But the context of what? Anyway.
Despite the fact that she had been previously objectified by a predator, but because Persona 5 insists upon sexualizing these characters rather than being visually appealing while taking ownership of their sexuality, it shifts the power dynamic towards the player, and it doesn't merely permit them to sexualize them, but it encourages them, regardless of their gender.
Okay,
What does that mean?
This is such a reach.
So because it's a game and it gives the control of the character to the gamer, it doesn't objectify them? What the hell is he talking about?
Just know they're too sexy. Too sexy. Characters are too sexy.
So he's admitting they're attractive, but the context is bad, but it's okay because it's a game and you can control the character. Or I think that's what he's trying. I'm really confused right now. I mean, this is an idea. This guy had a paragraph and he wrote it out and he planned it out and he said it and he recorded it and he put it in a video. And he thought, this is good. This makes sense. It's like, dude, do you find On sexy or not? Yes or no? If yes, is it good or bad? If it's good, you would have made this video. If it's bad, explain yourself, because you haven't explained yourself very well. Anywho, Joe Crazy, thank you. Fun fact about Sanji: his biggest fear are drag queens. Oh my God, really? It's kind of funny. It's like yeah. It's kind of like being around clowns. You're like, oh, scary looking crazy man in a giant outfit. Only this one's a sexualized object of a woman who's not a woman. It could be even scarier than a clown.
There was a lot of flowery sounding academic language in there, so let me try and simplify things a little bit. If all the aspects of Anne, such as her character, her design, her costumes, and even a storyline between her and Kamashita remained intact, then it would help recontextualize her character.
What do you mean recontextualize her character? She went through an arc, she grew as a person, she concluded that part of her life, and then she wants to move on with her life, realizing that she has to visit her friend who's going to another school, and that's going to be hard for her, but it's... She grows. She changes. She's part of the team now. She's doing these things with you, with the team. She chooses her path in life to become a model. She's accepted her sexuality in a sense. What's wrong with that?
I don't even think the story is that much about her sexuality.
Message coming in.
Or like
Patching
reclaiming
it
her
through.
sexuality, or
I think An is very accepting of herself after that point. I think she's, okay. Yeah, you're right. She's not like, oh, I'm a sexy girl. It's like, no, she doesn't really flaunt it like that. She's just your typical teenager who wants to be a model. Everything
even
else.
the outfit, like it's skin tight. That's what? Because it shows cleavage at all.
I
Like,
guess.
is that the objective part? It's like I'm just.
You know what? When they showed the character designs, I thought that's really cool. But everything about Persona 5 is very stylized and cool anyway. So whether you're in the metaverse or not, like there's some style to it that is looking at a certain character a certain way, or a menu system a certain way. So everything about it is to focus the lens in a certain way. So when you talk about An, yeah, she's attractive, but that's just the visual. She doesn't really care too much, especially when we saw that scene with Ryuji. She was like, yeah, whatever. I'm attractive now, you know it, ha ha ha. Like, she doesn't see it as a big deal. And we don't either. So she acts like a teenager, like any other teenager would. A young girl or young woman having fun with her friends, doing crazy things after school, and jumping into people's minds and helping them out.
And really, like, Shiho was like way more abused than An. You know, like, so it's not like it has Shiho in the skin tight outfit. You know, the skin tight sexy.
Aside
outfit,
from
right?
in the Royale, I think they when you're in his palace, like you showed on the screen where she's in that bunny outfit.
Yeah, but that's like in the palace. That's like his mind's creation.
Which he should have no problem with, because that was the context he was referring to. Yeah, no, he is really trying to keep his ideology intact while trying to rationalize his bullshit. It's so hard.
It is a house of cards that's just falling down.
Yeah. Joe Crazy. Another annoying thing about these guys is they never clarify a difference between what is considered owning their sexuality and objectification. I think if we actually go through scene by scene of An for the first chapter and a few select scenes, we can see her as a mature young lady who is very aware of her role in life and her friendships and her personal friendships. And, it's a mature look.
I don't see how the player is encouraged to objectify her. Like, what? Like, if having sexy characters isn't inherently a problem, then what is the problem? Because then, how the fuck is the player encouraged to objectify the character when you're basically constantly you get to know the character you get to know as a person, you know, through doing the social links and through the story and everything. So you're never thinking of her as just her beauty or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. She is a developed character. And for this guy to focus on her visuals so much doesn't make any sense, when he should be able to pick apart the development of her as a story part of this, or a character in the story. So it's like, yeah, she's attractive, and tell us why that's not relevant, because there's so much more to her. It's like he's looking at just the surface, which is the whole point of objectification. It's like, dude, why are you doing that? Stop doing that. There's more to An than her figure. I don't know. It's I don't know what he's trying to argue exactly, but he's missing the forest for the trees again.
Mean that Lux represents who she is and give her autonomy and
she's a model. She's supposed to be attractive.
she is. But like, how does it? Like, she's a fucking what? What? Wait, I'm like, what? Huh? I'm just like, how does it not? Like, she's portrayed as like powerful and in control, you know, of her own destiny.
Yeah.
You know, like, how is that not who she is? How does that not represent what's you know the sort of character growth that she's had? Like, how does it not do that? It clearly, like, what do you mean?
Here's Cool Man.
Message coming
59.
in. Patching it through.
Late to the show, but is it another weirdo complaining about attractive ladies? Yeah. Also, if he thinks On is just a sexy character and ignore her actual character is incredibly insulting to her character. I don't think he doesn't know On is a great character. I think he's just ignoring that aspect for his video. Because he picked up specific scenes which he thought were problematic or whatever he would call them. But he's neglecting her entire social link, her side stories, her relationship with Shiho and how important that was to her. Like, there's much more to her in her relationship with all her friends, which is really important. So, yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Especially Ryuji. She's really friendly with him, and they get along so well.
Her appearance, rather than part of her existing to titillate the audience. She would have still been a product of the male gaze. That's unavoidable.
Again, this male gaze thing is so fucking vague. It's so fucking vague as to be completely meaningless. Like, it means fucking nothing.
And it's based on three perspectives: the camera guy, or the perspective of the camera for a movie.
The male in the piece of art.
Yeah, the director or the guy who wrote the idea or wrote the character, and then there's the actual audience, which I don't know how that works exactly, because that would be the camera, the same perspective. So, yeah,
Also,
yeah.
it seems like he's saying like she should be like traumatized to even think about anything vaguely related to sex for the rest of her life, and never think about be allowed to think about being sexy like ever because like because once a victim that's your entire identity, and if you go out of that, well, that's problematic.
And you think that because of the narrative of the first chapter with the gym teacher, that it would be like, oh yeah, we address these issues. She grows as a character. They conquer her fears. It's like, yeah, and they get the bad guy too. It's like, yeah, we address these issues, and then we go on with the story because it's done. We don't need to backtrack. Why would we? Why would you show regression? That would be silly. That's not the problem. Wasn't her. It was her friend that had the issue, and maybe he was kind of chumming up to On a bit, but she didn't like that, and she never got involved with that. So she was smart. She kept her distance, tried to help a friend, came too late, and then they conquered his palace, stole his heart, and got him to confess. Mission accomplished. Get on with the story, please. No, has to be, you got to cover her up now. It's like, no, you don't.
But she also would have been a very well-written character with thoughts, feelings, and power.
She has
and by objectifying her,
She has thoughts and feelings. Like her being portrayed in a sexy way does not make her not have character. Like what the fuck? Just all of his definitions are so fucking open-ended that he can just apply them to anything that he can just always find an excuse to apply it to whatever it is. It's so vague.
He was concerned about context. Now he's taking out other elements of the story, which is fine. But if you want to focus on one thing, you don't start bashing or neglecting the other elements that give detail and meaning. So I don't know why he's doing that, but okay.
do in essence is remove some of her power and pass it over to the audience instead. In other words,
What? How is the audience getting On's power? What the hell does that even mean?
What the fuck? Fucking character design that like doesn't do any of that. What did you just? No.
I think he's taking the male gaze interpretation a bit too literally. If he's saying that males have perspectives in these three ways in the male gaze, and because it's a power struggle or whatever between men and women, that he thinks a fictional character doesn't have power because the cameraman with like the omniscient viewer, the omniscient power of the camera, can zoom in on her butt and therefore objectify her. And you're like, I don't get it. How is that taking away her power? Like what is the power she's losing? That she's on a beach that anyone could see her butt? And that like zoomed in magnification is specific to the game? I guess. I don't know. How do you know they just wanted to show off the flowery pattern of her bikini? What was wrong with that? And she wanted to look cute. There's a whole conversation with On talking about what's cute. What does it mean to be cute? I thought that was cool. And it's this feeling. It's not so much an intellectual thing. It's a concept of attraction that you can't describe why you're attracted to things that are cute. It could be anything. It could be an animal. It could be a person. It's just something about it that you like. It's this emotion, which I thought was very insightful to her character because she's describing a whole concept of experience. And I thought that was awesome. That she has this insight to, not necessarily her modeling career, but in general, beauty. Because cute is a very difficult thing to determine. Some people can find sexy women cute, and some people can find little animals cute. There's, it's like a catch-all term. And On just gave us a little insight into her mind, which I thought was cool. But yeah, no, she's got a butt and boobs, and it's bad.
And better. Many games within the industry are created by largely straight male staffs, and with that comes a narrow scope of perspectives.
No, it doesn't.
It's not often that we see
here we
characters
fucking
and
go.
stories through the lens of women, non-binary, or even transgender folks.
I don't care.
So at times it
Cry
can seem
about it.
impossible to view a game outside of
Fucking
the perspective
cry
of a
about it,
straight
dude.
male. I myself am a straight male, and I can tell when I'm being pandered to. Clearly, since I made this whole video. But handing that perspective to...
Okay, so how is when it's hot in the desert and they're in the monomobile and they're lifting their shirts to air it out? How is that being pandered to? I don't feel anything for that. I don't really care.
But just this is so brain dead. Like this is
Show me a scene in the game where I'm being pandered to, sir. The male gaze. Let's do it. Just tell me show me the pandering, please, with context. That would be so simple to do if it's all just visual. Because I was not pandered to in that previous scene.
people from different genders can allow us the opportunity to see characters in a way that they want their gender to be represented.
No, that's stupid. I don't need a woman's perspective on how to make a female character. It would help, but that's any person's perspective. I don't need specifically another girl. I can use a friend. I could use a writer buddy. I could use a guy off the street, which I say a lot to when I talk about writing. I say, can you write a line of dialogue that this guy would say if he's like a tough dude?
It's bizarre. Like, you can't write characters unless they're literally just you.
Yeah.
Like, you can only write one character.
I can only design males.
The only character you're allowed to write is a self-insert.
Message coming in.
I have zero insight
Patching it through.
into what a female might say at a certain time. It's like, no, sorry. Joe Crazy. So what he's saying is that we need more traps. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's just putting up a bunch of stupid stats on the screen saying, well, no, 5% of people in game design are transsexual. It's like, yeah, and? Do they make the level better? I don't think so.
I don't want you to think that this means that every female character should be completely covered up. I'm certain that many women can attest to the fact that they also enjoy some designs that highlight the assets of female characters. There's a trope in massively multiplayer online RPGs that when playing as a female avatar, the higher the level of your armor, the more revealing it becomes, making it sort of a reward for getting so far while in reality being massively impractical. It's silly, and it's obviously pandering, but my wife and many other women I've spoken to have said that while...
This guy's married?
Do you know why? Do you know why it panders to the straight men? Because they're the ones who actually buy the fucking game. Like, man, I don't know what to fucking tell you, my dude. Like, there's just way more of them that are interested. Especially in that kind of game, yeah, it's going to be way more men. And I don't buy for a second that it's societal, and it's because the society makes women not want to play these games. I don't buy that for a fucking second. I don't buy that for a fucking second.
I don't think this is even a problem. If your audience is 80 or 90% male, and you can create female attractive characters, and they can get, I don't know, class changes or armor changes or whatever, and it's sexually attractive. You're like, yeah, and it's a fantasy world. I don't see the problem here, unless they're going for like a traditional, very not conservative but very practical concept of combat, and they have like boob plate or they have like a gap in the window for the chest that they like. Yeah, that would be stupid. You got to make realistic armor. But
his wife, I just imagine honey, it's 4 p.m. time for your daily video about feminist nonsense.
You gotta hit your quota for the month. Yeah. Because my lecturer at university told me I gotta do this for school or something. Oh. Rox is Uzi. Let's keep going. The vast majority of people don't care about the demographic of people who make games. All I care about is the game is good. That's it. Yeah, I really, really don't care how the sausage is made or who makes the sausage, unless it's creative concept, like how they came up with this idea. I want to know that process. That's kind of cool. But who did it? No, don't give a shit. If it was made by aliens, I'd be fascinated. But other than that, no, I wouldn't care. Cool man 229. I hate that fan service of attractive women is seen as evil, but fan service of men being ripped and shirtless is fine. Yeah, we never talk about that, do we? No one has a problem with like men being gorgeous and muscular and having their shirts off and all the armor that they wear, because there's plenty of armor where it's not covering their full body. But that's fine. It's only about the male gaze, because women have a problem with other women. And I don't frickin' know why. Aside from jealousy. That's all I can come to the basic conclusion of. Who cares if a supermodel gets paid millions of dollars and she has a skimpy bikini? What's wrong with that? Joe Crazy. It's probably an open marriage. Oh no. Let's not start those jokes. Let's not do that. They're a mature adult people who play video games and talk about feminism. That's fine by me. I don't care. Let them be whatever they want to be. All right.
They recognize the intention behind these designs. They actually like them because they think it looks good. And honestly, that's fine. No one has a right to say what you should find visually appealing. I know I don't. It would be nice if these games offered options in how you present your characters for those who aren't too keen on those designs, and perhaps, make something that's a bit more practical for them. But I'm not saying that designers shouldn't be allowed to make characters with sex appeal, but context does matter.
All right, so he's repeating himself. He said exactly the same thing he said a few minutes ago, and he concluded with context matters. I'm like, what context? Tell us which context is important when you can't have sexy characters. Please. Please. Or have you wasted all of our time?
And 5 unfortunately created dissonance between its female characters
No.
and its message on their treatment.
I disagree.
Studying how video games or indeed media objectifies women in particular isn't a new or even groundbreaking subject, and it's something that hasn't always been embraced with open arms, lest we forget. But Persona 5...
Please, let's forget.
Like,
She who shall not be named.
look at the fucking nose on that woman.
Let's not even think about those things, sir.
That is quite the nose.
I don't know why he brought up the Dancing in Starlight scene where it's the final level of the girls, because it was too attractive, it was too sexy. You know, you put Haru in the same outfit as everyone else. You're like, yeah, so they're dancing in the pole strippers' cages. You're like, yeah, so it's a dancing game. They're supposed to be attractive. They're athletic dancers. When you want to be like flipping over and falling down and being fat.
I thought we were just talking about Persona 5 now, but if now we're just going into spin-off games.
Yeah, where's the fighting games? Where's Q? Where there's Chibified. Are we just like, is everything objectification because they're wearing Las Vegas outfits or whatever you call these things?
I guess burlesque
Yeah.
style. Yeah.
Ooh, can't do that to teenagers. Oh, it's bad. Okay.
is an interesting case in that early into the game we're given a well-crafted narrative that the objectification of women is wrong and robs them of...
It's not
Why
about
is it-
objectification.
Why is it wrong though?
It's about abuse, you know? It's not about, oh, like he only sees them as their bodies. That's not the problem.
Okay,
The
so
problem is he abuses people.
so he likes the first chapter. I like the first chapter. It's great. But whenever An gets her skin tight body outfit with the cutout of her chest, that's wrong. Why? Tell me why. What's wrong with that? It should be very easy to say what's wrong with it. And say it makes them look sexy. It's like, yes, how is that wrong? It's the male gaze. How is the male gaze wrong? What's wrong with it? Just tell me why it's wrong. If it all comes down to you're making her look like an object for sex, and I say, again, what's wrong with that? There's plenty of reasons why people are attracted to things. Some of them are obscure. Some of them don't make any sense. And sometimes you'll be aroused for no reason that you could possibly rationally discern. And I say to that, again, what's wrong with that? Give me a reason. Because if it's all just, I don't like boobs, or I don't like how An is attractive, and yet he's said the opposite in this video, so I don't know what he's getting at. And the context of what, I still don't know.
Liberated characters should not be like sexy. like characters are, you know, if like what, like if a character's abused, they can't be sexy. Victims can't be sexy. I'm just.
I want to hear a coherent argument why chapter 1 works, then after that you can't do sexy on anymore. I really don't know. I just tell him, he has to tell us. What's wrong with the beach scene? I still don't get it. People on beaches wear bikinis, and so
their
You see,
power. But it
like-
quickly pivots on that message and tells the audience,
doesn't.
check out these teenage girls. They're
Bro, you're like your main character is a teenage boy, a fucking horny teenager, and that is basically what the camera is fucking emulating. And you just kind of brush that off as, well, that's just the male gaze. Yet the main character is male.
Yeah, and the game, you can make relationships that are romantic in nature.
And you get to know her as a character. You know, like it's not just her body. You get to fucking know the character. You can't use this argument that it's reducing her to just her body. Like, obviously not. If you play the whole fucking game, you get to know the fucking character as a person. Just like all the female characters in the game, you get to know them as a person. So it's not, obviously not, just reducing them to just their bodies, which is the whole like point of the concept of objectification. So, like, clearly not. Clearly that they aren't objectified because they're clearly treated as people. Just fuck's sake.
I just find it a little hypocritical. So he knows there's dating and relationships in this game. So why wouldn't you want to have them visualized in an attractive manner? And all the characters have those moments. Well, not all of them, but in general. Some of them aren't as attractive as others, like the journalist chick and the fortune teller chick. They're just sort of, you know, there. There's nothing really inherently sexual about them, I think.
Futaba is definitely not.
No. But you're attracted to her for different reasons.
She's more of a little sister.
Little sister kind of friend thing going, and that's fine.
Not in a
What are you doing, step bro?
No. She's adorable. That's the two. I think the two main personalities in the game for women are Futaba and Makoto. Like the strong, like, this is who I am. I'm characterized very well. I have all these backstory elements and conflicts. Like, to me, at least, that comes across the best. An is a bit more like friend sort of person, and you understand her very easily. So Haru, I just wish there was more to Haru. I just really do. Her story's fine. There's more. It needs more. Joe Crazy hormones. What are those? Yeah, Puh. Can't have
Message
those.
coming in.
Male hormones
Patching
bad. Can't get aroused. I can't never.
Pretty hot, right? Boy, that felt gross to say. Please don't take that out of context. With gratuitous shots of body parts, male characters being sleazy and jiggling.
He wasn't being sleazy. And if he was, On didn't take it that way. Oh my God. This guy's arguing about context and he's recontextualizing these scenes and lying to us. When was Ryuji sleazy to On? Show that.
He's literally just going, well, he did that thing with his hands.
Yeah, and then On is laughing at him because she knows what it means. And she's like, oh, you think better of me now. It's like, what? That's not sleazy. He's literally showing off how much he likes her by doing the groping the groping motion.
It's like, what?
Because they're friends and they understand each other, and she's laughing at that's the kind of reaction he got. And then when she finally comes up to him, I don't know if you remember that scene, but she sort of hangs off him, and then Futaba comes out, and they're all looking at Futaba, and you see her boob just press up against his arm, and he doesn't freak out. It's not a big deal. It's like, hey, these guys are mature. Are being on a beach and goofing around because they're friends.
Breast physics in some of the game's animated segments, namely the
Holy
Showtime attacks.
Fuck, dude. Like, you watch those whole fucking animations and your whole fucking takeaway is breast jiggle physics. Physics bad. Jiggle physics bad. Like, you watch those whole fucking animations of them being all, like, badass and stuff, and your entire fucking takeaway is tut. Jiggle physics, very bad. Evil. Very, very evil. Patriarchal jiggle physics.
Patriarchal.
The patriarchy and their shuffles deck.
The dead are alive.
Physics.
Patriarchy. Yeah. the what is it? The 2,000 polygon Dead or Alive characters and the patriarchy.
Yeah, Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive is the most patriarchal game because of its jiggle physics. How the fuck do you I'm just like, what? I'm not watching those fucking Showtime Attack scenes and thinking, wow, look at the fucking titties. Wow, bro. What the fuck, bro? Bro, go to fucking horny jail, bro. You're too fucking horny. You're too fucking horny, bro. This is just you. Most people aren't like this, bro.
Yeah, like 90%.
Need to go to horny jail.
90% of the entire shot is like all this amazing shit, but when she stops, and her boobs catch up.
Jiggle.
Oh my god!
Holy fuck! Go to horny jail, man. Go right this minute, young man.
You know, that just shows me how much attention to detail the animators put into everything. They didn't have to do that, but they did. It's like, how can we appeal to the audience more? Let's do jiggle physics. For a girl with B cups, yeah, do it. Okay. Why not?
I'm just like,
Anyway.
Persona 5 will have their great message crushed under the need to please male audiences. There are many anime shows and video games that objectify their female characters unabashedly without any attempts at empowering them. And in cases where this involves a powerful female character, some fans like to excuse that by saying that because they have this power,
it doesn't need an
objectifying them
excuse,
doesn't
dude.
make a difference.
It doesn't need
But
a fucking
unfortunately,
excuse.
That isn't the case. Because the
Fucking
power dynamic
cry
is
about it,
ultimately
dude.
between the creator and the audience,
Fucking
and reducing
cry
the
about
character
it.
to their physical assets ignores
What are you
who
on
that
about,
character is
dude?
as a person, regardless of their power.
That's
As
not what's happening
As a
in
person.
the games. Like, dude, what are you on about? That doesn't happen, dude. Just because you're so fucking horny, dude. Stop projecting you're horny, dude.
I'm not even sure he's arguing.
Contain you're horny.
I'm not sure what he's arguing about at this point. Like, what? So her breasts are not part of her person? Like, what do you mean?
There's a great that fucking that bit of anime cutscene from Bleach,
Right.
from a beach episode in Bleach that reminds me, because I think it was actually in the manga. Funnily enough, it wasn't just filler. I'm pretty sure it was in the manga as well. But there's a scene where one of the characters is showing one of the other characters how to use their boobs as a bucket to carry water.
What?
And it goes out of its way to show this scene of the one character showing the other character how to do it. And it's that it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, he's using these clips from other shows for some reason. I don't know why, but
He's like, anime. It objectifies women. Like, oh my god. Like, having a beach episode where the female characters are sexy does not, like, the idea that completely reduces the characters to just that, like, dude, they have character arcs and shit. They have fucking character traits and personalities outside of those episodes, dude.
yeah, you can't change their outfit. You can't have them go in another setting. You can't have a fun scenario where their sexuality is expressed as young adults. No, you can't do that. That's not cool. That's wrong. It's bad. This is a young adult story with adult themes. Or mature themes rather. I see nothing wrong with having these interludes or side plots or anything of the nature where you can express another tone, because the whole game is a series of calendar months where all different stuff happens, like little things and sometimes big events. I think that's great. So when you look at these Persona games, it's not just social links and fighting monsters. It's like all this other stuff. And I think you have to take that into account and appreciate it for what it is. And if he's just zeroing in on, well, her outfit is too revealing and there's a beach scene, you're like, that's like 1% maybe. Like if it was obnoxious, like it was like 80% of every time On is on the screen, and she has these massive breasts and she's bouncing around like a jujube or something, and she's just like that's a little silly. Like that would be ridiculous. So I don't know where he's getting all these arguments, because she's not that over the top designed. And the worst is her skin tight outfit. And you're like, that's fine.
There are plenty of women, trans, and non-binary people who watch anime, play video games, and love Persona, and may even enjoy how these female characters are shown. I'm not here to criticize how people enjoy something, but we can still do a lot better than this. We can include powerful messages in media that resonate with people without undermining them because of their...
It's not undermined, dude!
The first chapter, as we said many times already, the first chapter was exactly about the concept of objectifying girls and the abuses therein. That is perfect. The Persona 5 has done the job of whatever this guy wants, or thinks that it should be in games and stories. For whatever stupid reason, he thinks it has to be in every chapter. I don't know why, when there's a lot of other characters to talk about. Why does On and her problem with her friend have to be in every chapter and contextualized that way? Why? Why can't you have a sexy girl who's powerful and strong and helping you and your friend and your possible romance interest? What's wrong with that? I just don't get it. And that's like 1% of the game. And some of it's even optional.
Gender, sexuality, or even race. There's been some strides in recent years when it comes to giving creators from various backgrounds a voice, but in Japan, where Persona 5 was produced, that growth has been insignificant. And it's no coincidence that women and everyone else are seen as less than men in Japan.
I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. When you're talking about a video game, the size and scale of Persona, there are so many people involved that it doesn't matter what their background was or how many women or to men made the game. They made it this way. Specifically, the character designer, everyone liked the design. Okay, we're going with that one. On's going to look like this. The doctor, Tay, she's going to look like this. The teacher is going to look like that. It's like that. Yeah, we're going with that look. And the teacher is hilarious. Her story is funny. She's a home cleaning person. She wears a maid outfit, and she goes on the vacation as well to the beach. And she's posing in her bikini. And she's like, "Is this too much? Is this too sexy?" It's like even the adults have problems. Like, this is great. It's fantastic. Oh no, you're objectifying the teacher. It's like, Joe Crazy, I'm not here to criticize how someone enjoys something. Are you now? Apparently he's criticizing himself. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. So you can't have sexy girls, but you can. But they have to be contextualized.
Patching it
in
through.
a certain way.
Love Persona 5 and all the other games in the franchise that I've played. I truly do. These games have some of the best written characters I've seen in a video game. I can see myself in some of them, and I see people I know in them too. On many occasions, I genuinely cared about them. It's clear that the people who wrote and designed these characters also cared about them too, given how well they fleshed them out. But when you put your respect for your characters aside in order to appeal to an audience that you...
What? How the fuck is portraying his character as sexy? Just, you don't respect them if you portray them that way. Like, what the fuck is
Message
this
coming in.
I want to know the exact point where we throw away her character and we just use her for titillation. Like when does that happen? Where? What scene? What part of the game? Even with the beach scene where they show off her bikini, as soon as Ryuji does that scene, she giggles and laughs at him and then goes into her.
It characterizes her.
Yeah.
It characterizes her relationship with the other characters, and it shows her as a character, as a person, even just in that scene. So it's like clearly not just reducing her to just her looks. So clearly it isn't fucking doing that, which is what objectification is. So you're just what? No.
I remember
Message coming in.
from Persona
Patch it
4, Naoto. She was the cross-dressing female detective, and there's a scene. There's a beauty pageant, and she finally she decided to do it, and then she couldn't. She got to the stage. She was about to come out, and she couldn't. And that shows that's her character. She's too shy to reveal herself as a woman for multiple reasons. Not only about her job and her lineage, because she comes from a family of detectives, but because she doesn't think she's attractive enough, or she doesn't think she's feminine enough. And if you go through her social link and her romance story, or the romance options with Naoto, you can ask her, hey, can you dress in a the school uniform, I think. And she's really like, I don't know, it's no, just for me, just no one else will see. She's like, okay, fine. And even then, she's super embarrassed. But it goes to show you through those options that you can see a character and her characterization properly. That isn't about titillation. And it was never about titillation. And there's nothing wrong with showing Naoto in a bikini, even though we didn't get to see it. So these Persona games are massive. And there's so much context, and there's so many nuances with the characters. So for him to say, "Oh, well, you're removing context," it's like when is the context of On removed, and how is that bad to her character? How does that make? And what's wrong with her? Let's say she was a model, and she was on a runway, right? And we know nothing about this girl, and she's walking down the runway, and she's wearing a bikini, and you're like, okay, and what's wrong with that? We know nothing else about her. She's just an attractive girl. She walked up and down, done. I don't see the problem. We have runways. When I used to watch fashion TV back in the day, we had models all the time on the screen. I watched them and go, oh, cool. Cool design. Cool outfit. Do I need to know their backstory? Do I need to know their personality? No, they're not there for that. The show's not there for that. The context of the show is specific about fashion. You're supposed to be titillated by what the outfit looks like, how it hangs, how it moves, how the fabric looks. So these are all very important stuff. When you're talking about a visual medium like animation and video games, you have to titillate. You have to show things if they are supposed to be that way. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't the manga artist or animator not do that? Why would you not use that option? I'm confused why. Because we see that in manga all the time. If you have an attractive girl, give them an option where their sexuality is a conflict or is a sensitive topic. Their femininity is a thing. It showcases their reaction. Like with Haru. With Haru in that scene, she was shy to go out in her bikini. And she put that giant thing around her head. So she'd have to see what was going on. She said, oh, this is great. It's fine. It's like, no, Haru, you're an idiot. Just take the damn thing off and let's go. Another thing about
it's so bizarre when he's like talking about in anime in general, and he's like, "Oh well, look, there's sexy women, and they're portrayed, and it's," but it's like, dude, there's so many anime that are just like not very sexual at all. Like that have female characters, even the main character be female, and be not like sexualized at all. It's just it's such a weird generalization for him to make.
I remember the rest of that beach scene, like in gameplay. What happens is the three girls, they rent a banana boat, and it's only a 3-person, and they plan to go with each other, all the girls on the banana boat, and they say, hey guys, we're going to go now because we want to go on the banana boat. Can you watch our stuff? And the guys are like, no, we want to have fun too. It's like, oh, sorry, bye. So they just leave the guys to just look after their crap. Now, that would probably be from a different perspective. If the guys did that to the girls, I bet this guy would have a problem with that. They'd be like, they're abusing their authority.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
in
something like that. But no, when a girl does it, it's totally fine, right? So it's just like, this scene has a lot more elements to it than just a bunch of girls in bikinis. There's personalities and relationships and desires. So, go watch that scene again. Let me just bring it up. Persona 5 English version beach trip. Just search that on YouTube. It's a 20-minute video. You'll watch the whole thing, and it's really fun to watch. It's a great game. So this objectification nonsense is just like a small element, even if it was a problem, and it isn't. Anyway, let's keep going. Coolman229. I'm pissed off that he's pulling the backwards Japanese with Persona 5 when Persona 5 actively challenges a number of issues in Japanese culture. Yeah. There's so many great scenes in Persona 5 in between all the major plot points and in between the calendar dates that are just added for value. Like the what's the cross-dressing bartender? What's her name? Perot? No. Lula. I think it's Lula. Or Lala? I think the bar is called Perot, but I think she's called like Lula or something, and she's the master there, and she won't give Makoto a drink or anything like that. But yeah, they have these elements. They have gay men in the story. They have all kinds of different people from different backgrounds.
There were complaints about the fact that what is it? They have this run-in. I think it's like Ryuji and the main character run-in.
Yeah. Those two guys,
gay people, and they're like, oh, they're portrayed as predators. Oh, like, typical. And it's like, wow, yeah, because that would never happen. Right?
Well,
that would never happen, dude. That's so unrealistic. Unrealistic.
It was done for laughs. Okay. Yeah, it was done for laughs, and they were two very effeminate men being very aggressive with Ryuji. And the point of the scene was that you have to go. You're busy doing something, and you can't save your friend. And they do that in the anime as well. It's really great because that's kind of the character of all the first friend you meet from the Persona games. They're sort of like the sidekick character, and they're really bad with the girls, whereas you're really great with the girls. They're really headstrong, but not as strong as you. And they're sort of getting the short end of the stick all the time. And that's kind of what the joke is. Anyway. Tyler Preston, Projection 101. You know what? At this point, I don't know if it's projection or he's just confused, because he hasn't really sold us on what is bad about these characters being attractive. I don't see it yet. Anyway, we got 2 minutes left. Let's do it.
You undermine your message on how the world mistreats them, and that's not only unfair to your creation, but it's unfair to those who your creation represents.
No.
Thank you very much for...
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're done. Woo! Oh boy, 2 minutes of him gushing about his whatever. All his wonderful people gave him money. Okay, good stuff. All right, Persona. Finally, we finally got someone on the team to talk about Persona. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Man, I wish I had time to play a Persona game. Just sit back for like a month. It takes about 3 good weeks to. Like actual days of playing to play a Persona game. It's so long. They're so long games. You want to enjoy them.
Yeah, they are very long.
So much effort, so much attention to detail, so many characters. It's really, and for Persona 5 to come out the way it did, and then with the Royal, wow, fantastic game. If you haven't played it, I guess you could still pick it up for the PlayStation, but I would still wait for the PC port whenever it comes out. I'm sure they'll do it. But man, great game. Don't be shy. Talk to all the girls. Talk to all the guys. They're great people. Characters in the game. Fantastic. Anyway, not sure what we're going to do next, but that was a good refreshing change from what we usually cover. And very, very strange, poorly thought out argument, but Fun to cover, as I love these topics. I love it. I love the JRPGs, which not a lot of people went through. Oh, here's a question for me in chat. How did you feel about the Snowman Gaming Persona 5 video that EFAP covered a while ago? I feel he got away too easy. I don't remember what that was. Snowman Gaming?
Yeah. Oh, is this the creator's opinion is implied video?
It's a 7-minute video. It came out 2 years ago. And he says, a creator's opinion is implied.
Oh.
Oh, wow. These comments are... Even Joseph Anderson's in the comments. Wow. Oh, boy. Yeah, I haven't read that, or I haven't watched it, rather. So, or the EFAP, so I don't know. The snow time attacks have so much personality, but my jiggle physics, are you kidding me? The jiggle, I don't get it. If this was a Dead or Alive game, then you can make a purely normal argument because it's about titillation, it's about action. But for Persona, no. The girls are well proportioned. They're not over the top. They're teenagers. Doesn't bother me. Plus, that's when they're in the metaverse, so who cares? Physics is all over the place. Whoop-de-doo. That's the beauty of Persona. It's like, nope, we're in the metaverse. We're in the midnight hour. We're at Fort Tartarus, whatever the I can't remember. We're in the midnight channel. Persona 4. It's all magical. It's all whimsical. It's all symbolic. It's not real. You get away with a lot of stuff. So yeah, Persona is a great series with all those elements that are intelligently done. Great character design, some funny moments, and very sweet moments as well. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, Dollface, for joining me. That was great. I think if we had even one more person, we would have went on for another hour. So
Yeah.
This is good. So keep those suggestions coming. Keep them in the suggestions channel on the Discord. Keep on voting on the various voting channels we have on Discord as well. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. So have yourself